All right. Oh, well, we've got quite the episode to unpack. I loved, by the way, I watched back the part with Lindsay on my own. But then I watched it back with them as well last night, and watching your faces, oh, such a satisfying thing to see
Me
everyone's
being like,
face. You were so shooketh.
Yes, we were.
I think everyone was a little shook, but yeah, it was crazy. But that's the end of the episode. So let's start with the beginning of the episode. Before we dive into the actual episode, let's start it off as we always do and talk about our favorite moments. So we will start today with Finn.
okay, well, my favorite moment was the gift giving moment. That was my favorite moment. I'm sorry, but like I know that it's so stupid.
No, it was cute.
But I loved it, and I really was really happy that everybody was really happy. Well, Alejandro didn't say anything, but it's better. He at least didn't throw it in the garbage.
True.
So that was like a win in my opinion.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse. And I guess I don't know, I'm happy that I'm making friends with Colette. So all our moments as friends this
yeah,
this
they had
episode,
quite a few little moments in this episode together.
Have been were really nice for me. That's what I like the most.
Yeah, Colette is really warmed up to Finn. And I think the fact that Finn is not very problematic, Colette likes that. Colette's like, you're not really like that dramatic. Like, I kind of like you.
And now they are bonded by another thing.
Yes, which we will get to and we will talk about, because I did make a mistake in regards to how that works. So there will be some adjusting that needs to happen that we'll talk about. But we'll get to that part. And we'll probably discuss it a little bit more off stream, just so that everybody is on the same page, because I did fudge on my part. I read it wrong on how it actually works. So there's a little, I mean, we could just go with what happened, but it's not necessarily accurate to the ability. So we can decide as a team what you guys want to do going forward. It's totally up to you. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. If we bend the rules a little, fuck it. It's our fucking story, right?
I mean, it's up to you. And if it's for the story, I'm down to do it. But,
Yeah. We'll discuss that more in detail.
I thought our bonding was very nice.
It was. It was very nice indeed. What about you, Sparta? What was your favorite moment?
I had two. So the part where we got the gifts and Sparta's like, oh, what day is it? And the whole shower thing had me rolling. And then obviously when Sugar came in, that hands down had me going. I loved it.
Yes, the bit with Sugar was a lot of fun. I don't think, because we did talk about bringing Sugar in, but we didn't say when or how. And I knew I was going to have him show up for this event and it be the 10th anniversary. And he was going to be like, how could I miss this? Like, oh my God. So, yes.
Just the whole thing about talking about clothes when it came to Sugar was funny as hell.
Oh, yeah. How can I forget? Also, Sugar moment, obviously.
Yes,
Sugar. How could I forget? But the moment that Sugar walked in, like, I need to tell him to, like, watch the YouTube because my butt is fucked.
I know.
I don't know
I don't understand what happened.
I don't know what the fuck happened.
I'm glad that we record, so we at least have something available. But we'll have to figure that out later. I'm very upset about
it because I have, like, that is not cool. Like, and that never happened to me before either.
I don't know. Just got weird. What about you, Mimsy? What's your favorite moment of the session?
I mean, I think the Sugar moment and the typical snarky Alejandro comments that was going on the group messaging about Barney being shot and made into a coat, and poor kids won't have Barney anymore.
Yeah. Colette's
Was
response of a dino with a knife.
that was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah. I liked.
And
Go ahead, continue.
obviously, the last part was, in a weird, twisted way, a very favorite moment because of the fact that for the first time in days, Alejandro finally gets to fucking drink.
Yep.
And that's
Finally
where the
gets to feed.
revelation happens that he does actually feed, but he doesn't feed off humans.
Yep. Hey Ashley, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. I did really enjoy the part where during when Sugar was there, when the group was like texting each other. So I feel like that's the first time they've kind of like been playful and laid back with each other. You know what I mean? Like, you haven't seen that with them, where they're all collectively kind of joking around and like kicking it off. Like, we haven't had that moment yet for them. And that was the first moment that they all sort of came together and were like making fun of the situation and having a good time. And I liked that because I'm sure as this group continues to grow together over time, you know, we're going to see more of that. You know, relationships are going to get stronger. They're going to get more comfortable with each other. They're going to get all over all of these hurdles that they're going through right now, and the drama of like, you know, figuring each other out and figuring out how to be friends with each other. And we'll see more of that. And that was like just a small little glimpse of like, this could work. We could be friends and we could have a good time together. But everything's been so serious and, you know, dramatic outside of that little moment that they got to have together. So I liked that moment too. It was a nice little moment. For me, I think, well, for me as storyteller, my favorite moment was at the end with Lindsay, just because of the shock factor of what happened. Because everyone was just shooketh. But I think also, like, if I try to separate myself of like, oh, what would have been my favorite moment as Colette? And I think my favorite moment with Colette was probably her and Nyx at the hotel the first time, when they were just like walking and talking and like relating to each other. I don't know. I think that Nyx is really starting to see a different side of Colette. And Colette is being more vulnerable and being more willing to open up to Nyx and show her that side. Hey Jess, how you doing? And I think, like I mentioned this during the role play. I think that interaction with Nyx, like whenever Nyx said, or whenever Colette was like, as if, and she like made that comment, and I was like, I think that moment was good for Nyx because she's starting to see how the relationship with her and Ashley could possibly work, like with Colette and Ashley, because Colette is so intense and serious and like work oriented and things like that, and Ashley is like completely opposite. So it's like, how does that work? How do they get along? But Colette being vulnerable with Nyx is showing Nyx, oh, okay, like there's a different side to her that's not just work all the time. She knows how to have a good time too. So yeah, those were our favorite moments of the stream. And I do want to start off sort of at the beginning, I guess, not sort of at the beginning. And what were your thoughts about Colette's monologue? Because we can't talk about this in character, so we might as well take the moment because you guys don't know what she was thinking as characters. But I feel like I threw in some little revealing nuggets in there about what's going on with Colette and her opinion of Alejandro. So I was curious of what you guys think of it outside of character.
I was like, oof, okay, 'cause somebody's having some trauma, like some trigger trauma here. Like something happened where she fucked up.
It was
Uh,
intense.
And she was a weak link, and now Alejandro is triggering her.
yup. Yup.
And I'm like, oh my god, it makes so much sense.
Like they relate on a
Well, she relates to him in a way where fuck,
That's
like,
negative.
the past is like following me
Mm-hmm.
through a person,
Yeah.
and I need to relive it. And I loved it. I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
I need to relive these mistakes that I made.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I actually thank you for the host. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, why the fuck am I not hosting you? What the fuck?
Wow, how dare you?
How dare I?
How rude.
The audacity.
Hashtag Nick dies in the next episode. Storyteller has that power.
My revenge.
No!
But yeah, so I thought about, I was like, okay, no, Jenna, reel it in. I was going to get like really, I guess, theatrical. Is that the right way to say it? Listen, guys, don't come at me. I know I'm an English teacher. I was going to use a voice changer for the part because I tried to differentiate my voice a little bit, which I watched it back and I kind of did, but it's hard. But part of it was Colette speaking. Obviously, part of it was a flashback where she was like, the other person was yelling. That was like a flashback happening in her mind. And then part of it was the beast talking to her. And that was the part where she quoted herself. And because what she said to Alejandro the other night of saying, oh, you know, having a partner that doesn't have your 6 is the worst partner to have. And she told him, I don't trust you. And I need to trust you if I'm going to work for you. So the beast quoted her own self back to herself and was like, you fucking hypocrite. Like, you didn't have his back and you let him die. And so it was like the beast talking to her and like picking at her, basically bullying her, so to speak. And then that's when she was like, I'll let the beast have its way tonight. It's only a way to make the screaming stop.
and I feel like Colette, she sees a lot of Alejandro, like she sees a lot of herself in Alejandro,
Yeah.
and that
Bugs her.
just tears her up.
It definitely bugs her because like I can't really speak for Colette, but you know, they have there's so much similar things between them. Same clan, you know, Colette is obviously older. She knows she was there at one point herself, and she's been trying to like make Alejandro understand that not everyone in the Camarilla is as bad as you think.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have Alejandro on the other side. He's not a new vampire, but he's been that type of kindred that has been traveling around. He doesn't stay much in each city.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm here for a job, done the job, off to the next city, or back home to Los Santos or LA, if you want to call it that, which is his home.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a nomad. He moves from place to place.
Pretty much. And you know, the beast triggering. I mean, it gives a bigger perspective of Colette. That, you know, even though she's been a kindred for twice as long as Alejandro has been, it still shows that. Also, it also shows that fact that there is something that has been always said about the Bruja, that they're always very connected to their human side
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
and their memories, just like Alejandro is connected to his human side and the memories that he lived through as a cop. Colette still has that, even though she's been she's half over half the age of experience,
Mm-hmm.
like Alejandro.
Yeah, Colette's definitely still connected to her humanity. You can see that a lot in how she acts and the things that she does and stuff like that. But yeah, I was like, I don't know. I didn't know what to do with her monologue for like a long time. I wrote that I think the day before our session maybe. I was like all week I was like, oh, God, like what direction do I want to go with this? Like what is she thinking about? What is she feeling? Like I don't fucking know. And then I just kind of reflected on how that night ended, the night before. And I was like, okay, I can use this somehow. And then that's like when the idea started forming of like, why does Colette want him to leave so bad? And then I was like, okay, I got
And I was a little bit surprised by that monologue, because it was like I was thinking as Memsy, I was thinking like, oh shit, here he comes. It's gonna be like fucking Bart Simpson at school in the Simpsons intro writing "I hate Alejandro."
it. No, she
That
hates
was like,
the twist is she hates herself. Like, and Alejandro reminds her of the part she hates. And that's why she doesn't hate Alejandro. She hates herself because she was that way, because she was weak, because she, and he brings those things up out of her and those memories and reminders in his actions and how he behaves and things like that. And so she doesn't want him around because she doesn't want to be reminded of the things that she hates about herself. So it's really an inward thing. It has nothing to do with Alejandro. And it's more so about Colette,
obviously Alejandro doesn't know that.
Right,
So,
of
like
course.
I said, player me was expecting like, oh shit, here comes the fucking Karen attacks Alejandro type thing.
Surprise. Colette is much more in depth than you were expecting. I can't even remember what happened next. What did we do? Oh, we went to the hotel. That's right.
Yeah, we went to the hotel
We went to the hotel.
for the first time.
Yeah, and kind of scouted everything. So what are you guys' thoughts about Travis and his involvement? Scandalous. I mean, you guys don't know Travis as a character necessarily, but you know that he lives in the city.
We finally have a name and a face of one of the.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. I was like, no, well, at least like that sucks that it is indeed somebody from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
But at least now we know.
It confirms that.
And it confirmed it. That there is definitely like somebody in the inner circle of the city working with this outsider people.
Mm-hmm.
That brought in whatever else fucking bullshit that we have to deal with right now. But hey, what the fuck? Today, I don't know what the fuck. Enough! No, Mao. Mao. No.
Oh, she's Fen is pissed off when the Portuguese comes out.
No.
She starts yelling in other languages. You're like, I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Yes, exactly.
It's your cat's turn to be bad during the stream instead of mine.
No, today, like it's just my day, I guess. Okay.
Never-ending battle of the cats. interrupting our streams.
Right.
I need to be grateful that, like, honestly, they haven't really interrupted my RP. So I'm kind of happy about that. Let me say this
Yet.
today
Yeah,
and then say
next time.
Saturday be a chaos.
Yeah. Just pure fuckery from their part.
Mia's behind listening right now. She's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, just wait."
She's plotting
Yeah, she's like,
against
oh,
you.
you said Saturday
Saturday?
at 6 p.m.?
Got it, Mom.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in my cat calendar really fast.
Let me just file that. Oh, goodness. But yeah, so Travis does give you guys the connection to and answers the question of, is someone on the inside? But it also is a little terrifying because it's like, well, who else is involved?
That's why I want to
Yeah.
get my hands on him so we can get some answers.
Is Travis the only one, or are there
And that's-
others?
I mean,
Well, there
Alejandro
has
didn't-
to be others because there was two.
Well, yeah, exactly,
Alejandro?
Jess.
Correct. The little ghost people.
Alejandro didn't express this. He thought this, but in his mind, he's thinking, "What if Ashley's part of this shit?"
I was
Like,
waiting
he's-
for somebody to say that during the episode,
Like,
so they could
Alejandro
rip
was
their
thinking
fucking
it.
head off.
Alejandro was
Really,
thinking it,
bitch?
like flat out thinking it, and say, "What if?" Ashley's
And of
part
course, it was
this?"
Alejandro. I wouldn't have never thought of it because Ashley would just like
Ashley's
not
too
give a
stupid.
fuck.
Like,
Yeah,
she's too
like, I
stupid
didn't
in the
wanna say
political
that.
game. You know what I
didn't want to
mean?
say that, but I feel like she likes her parties way more than like trying to overthrow
She doesn't
Catalina
care
for
about
what? She
politics.
is like the region of like her little like territory. She has her own party and shit going on.
Yeah.
Like she would have, it would be in no interest for her whatsoever
To overthrow
to
Catalina.
overthrow Catalina.
I mean,
But again, I can't meta. Like this is information that
Yeah.
Eden / Nyx would not even be able to compute together.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Same with
like
Sparkle.
Alejandro was
together.
Alejandro was just thinking of it, and like he didn't say anything, but he had that concern inside, like, what if she's two-timing us? What if she's playing down? What if? And then he started thinking more. You know, sometimes I wish we could actually RP our thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
which would be, you know, but at that moment he was thinking, what if Ashley's part of this shit? And what if something happens to our quarry? What if Colette gets dragged into this shit and gets, you know, a finger pointed towards her, being, you know, a respected Bruja in the city? What's gonna happen, you know, to her? What's gonna happen to me? What's gonna happen to, you know, the other Brujas? What, like, his mind went from 0 to 100 when Nick said, you know, this is Travis. He was the first person to introduce me, that Ashley introduced me. Like, oh fuck.
Mm-hmm. See what Jess says. It's like, on one hand, the parties would be a good distraction because of how big they can be and to check out people. But like you said, she's so wrapped up in the parties that I don't think she would realize what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's funny that your mind immediately went to Ashley, and everyone seems to be overlooking Penelope, who seems
Oh no,
to be
I am
the,
not overlooking Penelope.
the
at
very
all
sneaky,
whatsoever.
more willing to play the politic game than her sister Ashley.
That's what I thought as a player. I was like, I wonder if she's like, maybe he's like
That-
concerned. But then I was like, it wouldn't make sense. Honestly, in my mind, like as a player, I was like, I don't think the sisters would be like, for a second there, I thought it was Penelope because Alejandro disappeared. but then it was
Yes.
ordered.
Yes.
So it was like, oh, okay, like
I
this
think
is not related
for
to Travis. This is related to Lindsay. This is a
Exactly.
very specific other thing. Like, if
Mhm.
she got Alejandro for Lindsay, there is no way that Penelope is involved in this thing. But like, come on, like maybe
I
shoot
mean
us a text message or something
the
so that no, like we don't
Something.
need to fucking freak the fuck out. Hey, we're gonna retrieve Alejandro real fast.
The thing is, um, do I want to say
Heads up.
this?
Heads up.
I don't know if I want to say this. Thank you so much
For
for
a
the
second.
follow and
Hey,
welcome.
Rika.
What's up?
Hi,
um
Making
Marissa.
Dinner wanted to stop by. We love you too.
But when she grabbed him, I thought immediately she was the traitor. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah, same. I don't know if you saw my face, but I was like,
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say because it'll be revealed in roleplay, so I can't say it. But
the,
yeah,
the the thing
Veg.
is, like,
sorry.
Penelope wasn't a thought for Alejandro until they left for the second time, when Penelope was nowhere to be found, because she went with Colette. Like, she followed Colette after Colette
Yeah.
went to make that phone call, and Penelope just disappeared.
Right, but you don't know why.
Maybe she disappeared to go look for Travis or something.
So, yeah, to put it like this, Alejandro was kind of very tunnel visioned
Mm-hmm.
that night, to be honest, and that the way I intended to play. I intended to play him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted it, like, sometimes, detectives, cops will have that tunnel vision that, there's no other possibilities apart from what I'm seeing in front.
Mm-hmm. I The interesting thing about this episode is Penelope hasn't played a big part in any of our episodes. And
Mm-hmm.
she made
True.
3 appearances in this episode. And 2 of them were very mysterious because she showed
Yes.
up at the house at the beginning of the night and went and had a private conversation with Colette. Then you guys saw her at the house and how she was behaving when you guys were with the Galeo sisters. And then she showed up when she took Alejandro.
I'm actually curious about Penelope's relationship with Colette because they kicked Ashley out of the room to have a private conversation.
Yeah.
Mexican telenovela, threesome drama right now incoming.
I don't think it's like
So,
that.
but clearly, like, those two have a different type of relationship than Ashley and Colette.
Right.
So, and then when we were doing the meeting at the house, the looks that she kept giving Colette, and then Colette texting her, like, there's definitely like a different dynamic with those two for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, another thing with kind of, I guess, with showcasing Penelope in this way, in the appearances that she made in this episode, it also makes you wonder what is her involvement in the city, because she does hold the title of Harpy like her sister. But does she play a bigger part than just what that role fulfills? What type of connections? Clearly, she's got some type of connection with Lindsay if she's doing Lindsay's dirty work. She clearly has some type of strong connection with Colette. Like you said, it's some type of secretive, like if they're going to the lengths of kicking Lindsay or Ashley out of the room to have a conversation. Also, I don't know if you guys remember, because I know everybody was a bit shooketh when this happened too, But after Sparta was taken to jail that night, when everybody was at the I'm gonna fuck it up.
Elysium.
By the end of this campaign, I will be able to say that word correctly. Elysium.
Remember, we have what's his name?
Jason Carl.
Yeah, Jason Carl.
Jason Carl's watching. I better not fuck it
and
up.
So you better not fuck it up.
Elysium.
You know, just like fucking put a tape on, like.
I'm gonna go to bed listening to my voice saying that word over and over.
Elysium.
But when everybody was there, after everyone was kind of funneling out, Colette and Penelope were having an intense conversation about everything that was going on. So there has been glimpses of Penelope with her connection to Colette, and it does seem to be a lot different than her relationship with Ashley.
Yeah, she definitely seems a lot more involved with the politics, and the background politics than Ashley. Ashley kind of like seems like the face, you know, like the face of the friend.
Yeah.
Like she like
Very
does the
much.
social relationships and like all that like kind of like work. Instead, like Penelope does the backstage work.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Yeah,
Like,
Penelope
that's
seems like
how-
she handles the business.
That's how I've been like imagining even their own relationship. Like
Yeah.
they're very close, they know what they're doing, but Ashley is just like keeping the attention and like, you know, being the shiny whatever like kindred she has to be in order to fulfill that role.
Right.
And then the Penelope is like in the background like taking care of shit in a very quiet and like, you know, pristine
And sweaty.
manner, because like she's been under the radar this entire time.
Yeah, she very much is secretive in a lot of ways, even personally. She doesn't talk a lot. Like, even her interactions with Nick, she was really off-putting and didn't give away a lot of information. She just kind of bluntly answered the question.
Penelope doesn't give information out if you don't know how to read her. For me, Penelope gave me a lot of information just by the way she like was like and behaved to Nyx, at least.
Right. But
Like,
but other
clearly she's a
people
badass.
aren't necessarily
yeah, but other people are not necessarily gonna see
in
it that
tune
way.
with that.
For me, it
Exactly.
makes sense. But
Exactly.
Clearly she's a badass because she's not afraid to stake a motherfucker.
she
Sure
fucking
ain't.
staked a motherfucker like nothing. Nothing. I love it.
Another thing is, you guys don't necessarily know how old the sisters are. That
No, we
hasn't come up in conversation at all. You don't know how old they are. You don't necessarily know how strong they are. Clearly, she's strong enough to stake someone and pick them up and go.
Take them out. Yeah.
So that's a little scary. To think about the fact that she can just fucking sneak up on you like that. And I mean, she could have killed you if she wanted to. She's fast and she's strong. So it's not a good mix there.
With the Galeo.
Can be a deadly situation. But yeah, so you guys don't necessarily know how old they are. And really, you don't really know what their abilities are, because we haven't seen them in a situation where they've showcased their abilities. In the one situation where the whole fire bullet thing, they left.
They left. They got escorted out.
Yeah, so they didn't stay to fight. But yeah, so interesting things for sure with Penelope, and there'll be more that is uncovered with her with time. So after you guys went to the hotel, You went to meet the sisters. That's right. Because you guys wanted to talk about Travis and get him to meet you there. And then that's when the one and only Sugar showed up in all of his glory.
I hope Sugar is okay. He's been having some like drama at home with his parents, so
that sucks. But yes,
hopefully
Sugar
he'll
made his
debut. He'll see
debut.
the episode whenever you put it on YouTube because my fucking
Yes.
thought is broken.
Yes, we'll get to that episode eventually. We're making our way there.
And it was cute. Sugar brought us all together.
Yes, Sugar brought the coterie together, unified them as one, because they were like, holy fuck. But yeah, so he made his debut. You guys got to see yet another side of Ashley because she was flabbergasted
The
and
traumatized
speechless.
one.
Yeah. She was speechless.
Oh my god, I cannot wait to ask Colette about it. As Nyx, I cannot wait because I know, like, I'm gonna ask Colette because we're becoming friends now.
Because we're friends. We're like besties now.
We're like best friends now.
But yes, Sugar in all of his glory, he showed up and totally stole the show.
Oh yeah,
like he always does when he's in people's presence. Then Ashley pulled him aside and clearly dismissed him because she came back empty-handed and then regained her attention and kind of slipped. Took her a couple of minutes, but she slipped right back into that Ashley mode after he was gone. Then you guys realized that Travis was not coming. So
yeah.
Let's dissect that a little bit.
Yeah. So for me, I knew part of me knew that was not going to work out.
No.
Because I knew, like, we had just been to the motel, and then we have like Ashley like call Travis for no apparent reason
out of the blue
asking him for questions. Like, I wanted to say something, but again, guys, like, I can't do it. I can't meta every time. I'm like, I want to meta so bad. Can I meta? But I can't. No, but I really wanted to be like, hey, I think we should just like completely lie to Ashley and tell her that, I don't know, like, to just like call Travis over to fuck around. Nothing related to anything, questions, no nothing, because I know that would have alerted him or like made him not come over.
Well, Colette didn't tell her to tell him to come because you guys wanted to question him. She just told Ashley, like, hey, get Travis to come to the house. When you guys were at the house, Colette explained.
Oh, yeah, and then, like, she asked afterwards.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, either way, I had a feeling that it wasn't going to work out anyway.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of sus as far as, like,
why are you asking? Yeah.
Just the perfect timing, you know? Like, he just got out. Like, we got out, and then, like, now they're calling me over to the Galeo sisters. Like, I would be sussed out if I was, like, a double agent, you know what I mean? I wouldn't fucking show up at that point.
Yeah.
I would be like, okay, my cover is compromised. Compromised agent. I need to go.
Yeah, because we technically don't know what Ashley said to him to get him to come to the house. But Colette didn't give any information to Ashley. She was just like, hey, get Travis to come to the house. And
she straight up lied to Ashley.
Yeah, she did lie to Ashley. Well, that was afterwards. That was when you guys were at the house. And Ashley was like, why do you guys need to talk to him?
It wasn't like really too much of a lie. Like, I think it was like she omitted some information. Like, it wasn't 100% fake. Like you said it, like you kind of put it in there, Jenna, like maybe like during a break or something. But you were like, she knows what to leave out and what to include in order to protect herself and Ashley
Right.
and the relationship.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to think about it. Colette was a detective, and this is the point that I brought up, is like she was a detective,
exactly.
so she knows how to give information without giving too much information.
In order to keep everybody safe.
Right.
Yeah.
She knows how to frame it in the correct way.
Yeah.
So that's basically what she did. So do we have any speculations on what or possibly who may have tipped Travis off? Do you think it was just purely him being suspicious and not showing up?
I have a feeling it might have been the person that was in room 7 that turned off the light when Colette was looking.
Oh, yes. For sure. For sure. Like, bitch was powerful as fuck too. Like, she probably like was looking.
The thing is, Travis and that woman were in that room the first time you guys came to the hotel.
And we were just walking around scouting like it was nobody's business. And
so
then we were like talking. So
you guys may have been seen the very first time you guys were there, for all you know. Because you had no idea.
We were just pretending to be like tourists.
So. Yeah, but Travis would know who you guys are.
Yeah, I know that's true.
So he would know Colette. He would know you, Nyx. He maybe would have recognized Sparta and Alejandro because he probably has only met them once. But he would know Colette for sure because of being friends with Ashley. So, and he probably knows that Colette works, like what kind of work Colette does. So your guys' cover may have been blown from the very start and you had no idea. You know what I mean? Like, because Travis came out of that room when he joined the circle.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, yeah.
And we weren't very sneaky.
Was there?
No, you guys were just doing your thing. So yeah, so it could have been a person that tipped Travis off. It could have been the fact that he saw you guys there. And put 2 and 2 together, like you said, when Ashley suddenly calls him after he leaves the hotel, knowing damn well that you guys are there watching. You know what I mean? That could have set him off. Like, there are multiple things that could have happened that tipped him off and made him not come to meet with you guys. So after that happens, you guys go back to the motel. And that's where you meet this mysterious woman in the hotel room. Before we dive into that rest of the episode, let's do one of our questions that we always do. What was a moment that worried you guys the most? Like, this is a good setup to talk about this scary woman. So, Sparta, we'll start with you. What moment worried you the most? There were a few worrying moments, I think. Worrisome.
Two that got me the most. When Colette and Nyx were in the room, I was like, oh my God, this bitch is going to kill him or something's going to happen. And obviously something did happen. I was like, oh, I got to go in there. That originally was actually, I would say that one was the most worrying. And then the whole scene where when you said Alejandro was in the jail and then Lindsay was coming up, I was like, oh my God.
Both of your faces when I said, and you hear Lindsay's voice, and Finn was like, oh, fuck? And she just like sat like this. Like you
Yes. I
were
was like,
so done.
is she gonna torture him? Is she gonna kill him?
Sparta the
Or is
whole
she gonna
time was
torture
like,
and kill him?
Yeah, no, I literally held my head like this, listening in for like a few minutes.
it was
like,
amazing.
long. Yeah.
I thought Alejandro was
A goner.
at the very least gonna get tortured.
Yeah,
You're
no, I
like,
was
this is
like,
the
do we have
moment.
a new character?
This is the moment
No,
we've been waiting for.
I was actually holding my phone at that point. Like when I heard Lindsay's was, I was like, okay, let me start opening the new app. Let me start making my character. I literally started scrolling through like the options that the Vampire the Masquerade app to make a new character has. Because I thought I was a goner.
I think
Oh
everyone
no,
did.
way worse.
Chat was like, we
Way
were
worse
wrong.
than that.
Sparta's not gonna die. It's Alejandro.
Yeah, everybody in chat thought it was gonna be me.
Mm-hmm.
Rip Alejandro. What about you, Finn? What was a worrying moment for you?
Well,
Nyx?
a worrying moment for me was definitely like, Mia, why? Why today? Meow,
Meow.
meow.
I love when they do that. When you're like,
Stop,
meow.
stop, meow, meow, meow.
I'm here, Mom. I'm here, and you're gonna pay attention
Yeah,
to me.
I'm fucking here. Hello. Mia, don't have time for this shit. Come on. For me, for sure, like the moment that we were in the fucking, whenever I realized that the vampire that we were like dealing with in the room was way too OP for us.
Yes.
That was the moment where I was like,
When I said, you notice that when she moves, she reminds you a lot of Catalina. You were like,
yeah, I was like, fuck.
oh God, no.
I was like,
I'm in the room with like
rip.
a 500-year-old vampire. Help.
Yeah, I was like, rip, perfect. Like, we have no chance here. She can like milk us, like whatever. It doesn't matter. Mia! Give me anxiety today. But yeah, no, that moment, like I remember, I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. I was like, I was hoping it was like a younger kindred that we could kind of like, whatever. No, it
At
wasn't.
least,
He was a
have like
500-year-old motherfucking like whatever. However, like who knows what she is? She has dominate. Could be. Who knows?
when you're that old,
Yeah.
I mean, you've learned lots of abilities that aren't
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
necessarily
saying.
your.
I'm like, she could be fucking Isaiah's mommy, as like for what we know, or another of Isaiah's childer, and knowing that Isaiah is a 7th generation vampire. That's some old shit
He's
right
likely
there. So,
pretty old himself.
mhm.
Could have been your sister.
Yeah,
Oh.
look at that.
Your sister done fucking brainwashed you.
Yeah,
Right?
perfect.
Welcome to the family, sis.
Welcome. We're gonna force you to become part of us.
But yeah, she is a pretty mysterious. What about you, Mimsy? I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but what was the most worrying moment for you? Worrying moment. Worrisome moment.
I mean, it's gotta be prison
Stop.
for me personally.
English teacher brain turn off. Sorry, go ahead.
Probably it's gonna be the jail situation.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was gonna happen. And a lot of things that Lindsay was saying at the time.
She's having a good old time back there.
Was kind of like, oh boy, well, I'm gonna have to start thinking of a new character. Less than a week. Also see what's gonna like see what happens with Nyx and Colette, because that's an interesting turn as well.
Mm-hmm.
You have Sparta who's already seeing differences. Alejandro doesn't know jack shit about this
Right.
at this
He
point,
doesn't know what's going
but
on.
once he hears about it, something's gonna happen to him too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so those two are pretty much the most worrying ones.
That's fair. So let's talk.
Did want to.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I did have
Yes.
a question since we're talking about the room.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of you guys get sussed out by the glowing suitcase?
Oh hell yeah! Like, are you kidding me? Like, for
changed
sure,
colors.
I noticed that shit. But again, like a mind fuckery. We needed to, like, pretend that we were like Sarah and Amber, like a cute couple that is visiting New Orleans, and I'm like, never mind, that did not work out.
So since we're talking about that, does anybody have any idea what that might have been?
A bomb.
I thought it
Flat
was
out
going to be
bomb.
fire bullets at first, but then you said it changed color to
Well,
red.
I thought it was just a case of fire bullets, and that was like one of the we saw the mechanism like actually start working, like activating or something. Like, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, maybe that's what they do. Like, maybe they're charging their green, and then like when they're ready, they
Right.
glow. They start glowing. So I was like, it's the same glow as before. So maybe that case has some sort of mechanism that keeps them charged and ready to go in case they need to.
Well, you
But
guys
again,
went a whole different direction with what you thought was in that box.
Well, outside of character, I also kind of thought it was like some kind of device to detect kindred, because it didn't change color till they came into the room.
Didn't change color until she started to close it.
yeah.
And like for me, it was like it goes from green to red, and I'm like, did she just arm a bomb? Are we gonna like celebrate 4th of July a little bit too soon?
Interesting.
Kaboom, bitch.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know if this will ever necessarily come up in character. So do you guys want me to tell you what it was? Because I don't know if you'll ever have an interaction with that box again. So probably the only way that you would really know this is just knowing the history of vampires, and especially the Camarilla. Old vampires, which I did reveal that she's very old, they don't use technology. That box was a device that communicated that she needed help. And that's why the 3 goons showed up.
Oh.
And that's why it turned from green to red. So it triggered some type of communication that she was in trouble. But that's how, like, the Camarilla, they have, like, really weird, old school, strange communicating devices like that because they don't trust modern technology. So that was some type of weird, concocted communication device.
It's like almost like an alarm of like a bank where you press the button
Sure,
and like there's a
right.
silent like
Silent alarm.
signal
Yeah.
sent to something, another device that then
Right.
brings in.
So that's what that was. That's her way of communicating to anybody if she's ever in trouble, because she doesn't have a cell phone. She can't just call somebody because she doesn't use modern technology. Like Catalina would be like the same way. There would be some other type of strange way that she would communicate with the outside world, that she needs help or needs someone to contact her or whatever. And I got that inspiration from I think it was a one shot. No. I think it was Seattle by Night, I believe. I can't remember. One campaign that I was watching, they had this mysterious box communicator that these old vampires would use, and there was like a strange phone with like a speaker inside, and you didn't really understand how it worked. But that's how like the old vampires would like talk to each other. It was like this big suitcase phone thing, and I kind of got that inspiration from them, and I put my own little twist on it to where it wasn't really like, who knows if there was an actual phone that she could use and talk to people, but it was more so meant to be like an alarm that if she ever was in trouble, she could trigger it. And that's why it turned to red, showing that, okay, like she's triggered this alarm, she's in trouble, she snapped it closed and put it down. That communicated to those 3 men who showed up that she needed people to be there. Anyway, so that's what that was. That mysterious box. It didn't have anything to do with the fire bullets, but it's funny because I actually didn't even consider that as a possibility. But that's funny that your guys
like, oh fuck, she has some fucking fire bullet guns in there.
Yeah,
cool.
Interesting that your minds went that way. So you guys,
like, the fire bullets are ready to go. We're fucked.
You guys go into the hotel room and begin to have a conversation with this lady who's very mysterious, and is very clear very early in entering the room that she is a kindred, because of just the way she moves and everything. And she obviously knew that you guys were sus, but was willing to entertain whatever the hell was going on. So she invited you in and started to have a conversation with you. Then she sort of took over.
Sorta?
Because she was done answering your questions at that point. And this is the part that we'll dissect a little. We can decide live. I don't care if we have this conversation together and with our audience. But so the ability that I was using is it can rewrite their memory. Obviously, we know that. The problem is the only memory she would have been able to rewrite is that memory with you guys, because she wouldn't have known what other memories you had. She would have had to figure that out some way, or she would have had to been present or whatever. You know what I mean? So she wouldn't have been able to rewrite other memories because she wouldn't have known what memories to rewrite. The only memory that she would be able to rewrite is your interactions together in that room. So we can do 2 things. We can make it accurate to how the ability is supposed to work and have her only rewrite that memory to whatever she wanted you guys to remember in that room, and what happened in that room. Or we can leave it with the RP that unfolded. I'm fine with doing whatever I want to do, what makes you guys happy. I don't want... It was a fluff on my part because I read it wrong. And I was reading it more as they could more so implant memories, which I guess in a way you can, but you're rewriting memories. That's like really how it is working.
If you want to do all of that, were you using the last one? The 5? The level 5 of Dominate?
Yeah.
Because you can always go and read the memories with the 3rd, I think, level of... There's a way of like literally going and reading the memory. I don't know if it's still... I haven't read Dominate if they rewrote it on the V5.
I have no clue.
But there should be a level that allows you to go and scope the memories of the person.
So then you can
play it,
rewrite
and then
them?
you could rewrite them.
Gotcha. Hold on, let me look.
So it can be that way, and it could be explained that way. But again, I don't know the rewrite of the discipline, because again, they made a bunch of changes, especially in the discipline department. With the V5.
Oh, sorry. No, it wasn't level 5 of it's It's level 3, the Forgetful Mind. Vampire can rewrite whole swaths of the victim's memories as long as they can keep the victim's gaze. And basically how it works is you do your rolls, and then depending on the point of margin, you can add additional memories. So that's what I was like, okay, so if I beat you by 3, I can add 3 memories into your mind. But it's rewriting memories. It's not planting memories. So it's a little different. See, this power does not allow the user to investigate the victim's true memories. It's more resembles blindly painting over an old canvas. So that's how it works. And I don't see anything about being able to read their minds. There's nothing here that would give you that ability. Not, at least not in Dominate.
I mean, I'd be okay with just going with it because, like, the only real rule is do what you want in the, like, you're supposed to be able to play fast and loose with the rules in the first place. So
I agree. I just don't necessarily want to start using abilities incorrectly. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure that I'm doing the things that these vampires can actually do, and not just like making shit up and be like, well, I'm going to do this because I feel like it. Because that's not fair. You know what I mean? Because I expect you guys to stay within the limits of what you can do. So I don't want to step outside of that just because I'm the storyteller. So really, I'll leave it up to you guys. And we don't necessarily have to decide right now. But if you guys want to change it to match what this ability actually does, then it's easy to do. I'll just change it, which was originally my first original plan. And then things got confusing when we were doing it. Then my original plan was for just to have Colette and Nyx's memory of this interaction to be a certain way. Like, she was rewriting that memory. And then it got confuzzled from there.
Hey, you see, there's not even like interesting.
Yeah, I don't think you can read people's minds. It might be like under a different
no, because
thing.
like there was a level of Auspex that was like pretty much reading minds too, and I was like, oh, maybe like she could have read our minds with that, but then it's not here anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They have clairvoyance. They put clairvoyance in possession, which is like not the same. There's spirit touch, which used to be a level 3, and it's a level 4 now.
I would have to look to see, but just off of the top of my head, I don't know of anything that gives them the ability to like.
No, there isn't. It doesn't look like it, because it would make sense if it was in Dominate or Auspex.
Yeah.
but either way, I'm okay with whatever you guys want to do.
I mean, what we can do is we like can be like, oh yeah, we had a great talk with this like very nice lady that was there, and she had never seen Travis or heard of Travis, and maybe for me, like, the encounter like was a lot more realistic, where like she totally was like, nope, she's super cute, like she's 100% human. Like,
well, that's what I mean.
We nothing to do with
we need to decide if we are staying with what happened or if we're just rewriting that memory, which is what my original intent was. And then if we're doing that, I'll tell them what they remember and what she told them. The only thing that it'll change is the RP that took place afterwards, because they wouldn't have come out of the room all confused. Like, what are you guys doing here? They would have just reported to you guys. They would have just reported to Sparta like, oh, no, she doesn't know anything. Like, she doesn't know what's going on.
That would change a lot of the RP.
Which would still be confusing, because why would 3 bodyguards show up at her door? Like, you would still know that there was something sus going on.
Yeah.
Because if this was just a sweet little old lady willing to talk to you guys, why would 3 huge, like, goon-looking people show up at her door? Like, you know what I mean? So there still would be, like, something strange going on.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be to the level of what we actually role played. It would just be like them still being kind of confused because you possibly don't believe them. They're like, no, like, this clearly something's going on. Like, what the fuck? They took Alejandro. All of that could have still unfolded. It would just be like the information that Nyx and Colette actually relayed. And they would have just been like, no, she's just an old lady. She doesn't know anything. Like, why are you freaking out? Kind of thing.
Yeah, why are you freaking out? Like, she literally, like, didn't... She was having a full meal, like, you know.
She offered us
teas
like,
and
she offered cookies,
us, like, yeah. She had a whole charcuterie and a bottle of wine sitting there. She was just having some dinner and shit, like.
Right. So, like,
nothing
the confusion and, like, the suspicion definitely would still be there. Because what Nyx and Colette would relay to you guys wouldn't make sense. You'd be like, this doesn't add up.
It wouldn't change too much. It really wouldn't change much.
No, it would just change the actual information that they said. Like, that's technically all that would change. The confusion and the suspicion would still be there on their part of, like, being like, why is everybody freaking out? And on
like,
your part,
why the fuck are we even, like, here anymore? Like,
yeah, like, let's go find Alejandro.
Clearly, maybe was another room.
Yeah,
maybe those were like,
maybe it was like room
8. You know, yeah, maybe it was room 8 or, like, you know,
yeah. So that's really all it would change.
Yeah, because it wouldn't.
Like, and again, like, it could be a lot of different things, guys. Like, nobody here has been, like, really thinking that. Again, we're dealing with old vampires. Like, they could have other disciplines, and, like, a very common discipline is obfuscate. Like, a few clans have it. Like, if you don't have auspex, like level 2, for example, which is level 1, which is always what I use, like, that can detect sometimes if the counter roll doesn't beat my roll. Like, there's ways of coming in. Like, obviously, me as Nyx, I can't know that. But, you know, it could totally be a case of your obfuscation. Like, none of the other characters can see obfuscated.
Someone hiding in the shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't use Sense the Unseen at all. So
no.
There could have been somebody standing right next to you guys the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and obfuscate is a super OP, like, fucking thing, because, again, unless you're looking for it, you're not going to be able to see it, especially after level 2nd. Like,
you're completely undetected.
Like, it's tricked to not see them
right
around you.
Exactly.
So, again, like, it can totally be explained in other forms, you know, like, and that could throw a wrench in the investigation no matter what. I think it would be a lot more complicated to, like, have it be a complete rewrite of the memories.
I think so too. It would be a lot to, like, figure out.
Yeah.
Which wasn't what I was originally trying to do. And then I read it and I was like, oh yeah, I could do this. This would make sense. And then I was like, wait. Afterwards, I was like, I don't think I did that right. And then I looked at it again and I was like, nah, no. I should have stuck to my original plan. My original plan was just to rewrite your memory of that room.
The interaction, yeah.
Yeah. And she was just going to plant a weird interaction of, like, you coming in and she was in the middle of eating dinner and watching the news or whatever, you know.
The news, and, like, you know, offered us some dinner and gave us some, like, suggestions about, like, food places to go and visit.
Right. It was just
in
a
your
sweet little
dreams.
old lady that was in town for whatever reason and
Yeah,
nothing
like, and
sus.
she's like, no, but she even coughed some like fucking like she had a cough. Like, how is she a vampire? Like, that's not possible.
She had an oxygen tank. Like,
Like something like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Where
like
it's
make
like
her really human.
impossible
Yeah.
that she is a
No,
kindred or
we were
anything
watching her
happened.
eat a
Yeah.
steak dinner. You guys don't understand.
I'd be okay with going with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll do that, and then I'll just send you the information, which I originally was going to do anyway, of what she actually remembers. Bit of a dumb question. There's no dumb questions, Jess. Is there going to be a scene where we will see Nyx and Colette's memory was changed? Do you mean like what they actually remember? Because we did do that. It just changed into something different. Do you mean like what we're planning right now? Is that what you're asking? If there will be a scene of that?
I mean,
Or
I feel
do you
like we will definitely lead with that. Like, I can always like with your
I have an idea.
notes, I have my monologue to do next week.
I have an idea. I was going to say we have Nyx's monologue, and she could technically make her monologue about a replay of that weird memory that she has.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
start it. We
Good.
could start off the episode like that, of you recalling the memory, and maybe even tying it into like why didn't Sparta believe us? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something.
Yeah, exactly.
We could do something like that. That would be a
No,
fun one.
I am immediately as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, no, I have the monologue next week, and you know that would be confusing for us too, because especially for Nyx, because again it was a critical success. So for me, that like I am going to take the liberty and be like, yeah, no, she blew her nose, and I remember seeing the little like string of like
It's not.
it's not like in the little handkerchief that she had like probably from her great grandma or some shit. um
Yeah.
and it is quite impossible that like she is any threat to us, and like being like, how the fuck after all of this how are they even saying that I'm lying here? It's impossible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we
you
could
know?
totally do that. I was thinking someone like Ron making an appearance to see if their memory was changed, especially since Sparta is still sus.
Ron? Who's Ron?
Ronaldo?
Oh, Ronaldo.
I wouldn't say
I
Sparta's
think
like
the only people that can see if there was a reworking is people with dominate. They can see if your memory was touched.
Yeah.
They can't see what.
Mm-mm.
But they can like detect if there was like some
Foul
working.
play.
Yeah. If somebody touched your brain.
See,
memories.
the interesting thing, and this will develop a little bit more in character in the next episode, Jess, because the imprint on Nyx's mind is crystal clear. Like, she believes everything. Like she just said, I saw her blow her nose or whatever. But the imprint on Colette's mind is not as crystal clear. On Colette's mind, it's more foggy because she didn't get she only got success by 1. So Colette rolled a 3, she rolled a 4. So her imprint, she still succeeded.
She rolled a 9.
9 with a crit, yeah. So the imprint on Colette's mind wasn't as strong. And that's the thing about this ability, is you don't know, you as the person that's using this ability, you don't know if it worked or not. You're just hoping that they're gonna believe you. You don't have a sense of whatever's going on unless like it flat out doesn't work and they give you a tell that it doesn't work, and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But for Colette, her memory is going to be kind of foggy and hazy and she's going to be a little bit confused. There might even be like a little bit that contradicts what Nyx is saying. And that's going to be something that can come out in character of Nyx recalling something that she 100% remembers and then Colette being like, I don't think that happened. Like, and there's going to be like a that kind of moment between them because Colette's memory isn't crystal clear. It's a little foggy. Yeah. She's kind of confused.
She still remembers the general feeling of that interaction, so she probably like will agree with Nyx being like, yeah, no, she was human, she was having dinner, like she was very welcoming, nothing strange, like, you know, like for example, she can be like, yeah, no, it's whatever, but like I can be like, no, I could see under her like vest, like her little like camisole or whatever, that she was breathing and like she blew her nose and like she was eating steak and that she was savoring and like, you know, she had a bottle of wine. She offered us like some and like Colette can be like, I don't necessarily recall her eating. You know, and like stuff like that. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll kind of play out in character too.
And I wouldn't say Sparta is suspicious of Colette and Nyx. He's more worried because he clearly can tell something's off, and he wants to help them, like get them help.
Be like,
well,
are
yeah,
you not sure?
Like you guys were outside.
Yeah.
You saw 3 people like come in after we left. We didn't see it.
Yeah.
We were way too like, you know, focus on whatever she did to us to convince us that it was like completely like,
don't worry about me
investigating. But then like you guys saw from a different perspective,
and you saw Alejandro get taken and all of that shit, so of course your mind is like, no, there's someone in there doing something sus. Like, it's not some sweet little old lady that was enjoying her steak dinner.
And that's why he was talking with Lev, like asking him, is there anything we could do to help them?
Right. And all of that can stay the same because you're probably still suspecting that clearly something was done to their minds because it doesn't add up. It doesn't, like I said, if it was just some sweet little old lady, why did 3 goons show up at her front door and then go inside with her as soon as Nyx and Colette were out of the room? Like, you guys saw that. Nyx and Colette, like she said, they had little like blinders on and didn't even pay attention to the goons that were there. And so
it was like a whole SWAT team there watching this as well.
Yeah, exactly. So your perspective is way more sus than like whatever Nyx and Colette is telling you guys. So it doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense. So we can definitely keep all of that reaction and stuff like that there. It's just what the lady actually rewrote on their minds is going to be a little different than what was said in the room. And I'll message you so that you know what exactly she told you and Colette about what you experienced. She was just a sweet little old lady. She's a history professor at the University of Florida.
And she came in for a convention.
Yes, honey. Oh, goodness. But yeah, so I do want to talk about her for a moment. Well, I guess we already kind of did. We laid out like our suspicions or whatever of who she might be.
Suspicion.
But yeah, clearly she's old as fuck. She's powerful. And she clearly doesn't want these 2 to remember that they were there and had any conversation with her. So she's covering something up.
Also, one thing is that in the memory rework, I can remember her as being, again, a very frail old lady, very specific, but her appearance might not be at all what she planted in our brains.
Exactly.
And also, like, the 3 goons were outside and saw a SWAT team come in when they went into the room, they would have told her, like, hey, there's a shit ton of people out there. They might come in.
I have a feeling that those 4 people in that room were ready for a fight. That's why those 3 people went inside. They were like, if we're going to get in a fight, you're going to come to us.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be
That's exactly
caught off guard.
You know, that could have happened, but you know, the whole thing with the situation with Alejandro happened, and then the focus changed.
Exactly.
You know, if Alejandro wouldn't have been taken, then yeah, there would
Probably
more
would
than
have
likely
been a
have
fight.
been bang.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
the second Alejandro gets taken, then the focus is like, oh shit,
And
we're dealing with this.
That's
we're
what
dealing with
Lev
this
was
threat.
focused on. Exactly.
And I was close to going in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually saying
that would have not been good.
Mm-mm. I mean, they were outnumbered, but we don't know anything about the 3. But we know that she's old and powerful. So while they may have been outnumbered, that might not have necessarily mattered going up against her and those 3 people. It would have been interesting, that's for damn sure.
Well,
that's why I actually get a roll for it, because Lev said don't go in, but Sparta wanted to go in, but Lev's family, and that would have gone against his conviction. So I had to do a roll for it, and it landed on don't go in.
Yeah, I think it would have been interesting if Sparta kicked that door in. I think he would have had quite a surprise waiting on the other side of it for him.
And well, the one thing I was thinking is, like, this is not a Sabat, like, thing either. Like, I don't know if they're Anarchs or another Camarilla, but even Anarchs being a little bit more chilled with the Masquerade, they still follow the fucking Masquerade. Right. At least the first rule.
Exactly, yeah.
Do not reveal yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's in everybody's best interest to not, like, have a full-on kindred fight in the courtyard of a motel.
Yes.
If it was against Sabat, literally Sabat would have not given 2 fucks.
Yeah, like, we don't care.
Would probably have exterminated the entire population inside that motel.
Yeah, true. Either before or after.
Turned them all into...
No witnesses.
Yeah, no witness. Literally, without even thinking. Like, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But again, like, we are doing more of, like, a chess play. You know, it's not Call of Duty. We're not going in to destroy everything.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Sadly.
True.
But yeah, so, and that's why a lot of these times where it might be more climactic and, like, exciting for a fight to break loose, it wouldn't necessarily happen. Because the one exception, I feel like, is situations like that fight you guys had in the street. There were guns involved and things like that. And it's like, as long as there are, like, humanistic things happening, like, this is just some type of brawl between people, like, you know, maybe a drug deal gone bad, or, you know what I mean? Like, you can explain it away, right? But you can hide the supernatural things that were going on, then people would be more willing to engage in, like, a situation like that. Now, if you're in situations where you are very clearly doing supernatural things that people with a naked eye can see, then not a lot of kindred would engage in that to begin with, because of the fear of breaching the Masquerade, and they know the consequence of that. You know what I mean? Like, the thing is if a fight broke out in that courtyard and you guys went all crazy and vampire-like, and there were witnesses around, that is a problem for Catalina now, because that is a clear breach of the Masquerade. What do we have to do? We have to wipe their memories. We have to kill them. We have to do something. These people can't know about us. You know what I mean? Like, so that creates problems. And a lot of kindreds aren't necessarily going to engage just for the simple fact of the repercussions that they would face for breaking and breaching the masquerade.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though they might want to. They might want to
Mhm.
go in there and beat the living shit out of them or do whatever.
Yeah.
But they won't necessarily engage in that environment. And they might
Yeah.
wait until they're in a different environment where
To then do so and be able to do so.
Exactly.
I definitely like have to reiterate this because like again we're playing Camarilla here, and like no matter how much against the Camarilla you are, literally the underlying for any kindred part of the Camarilla and even the Anarchs is do not in any
Expose.
circumstance reveal your true self to human beings.
Mhm.
Do not do that. So like
I mean,
even the
that-
most like irrational or like reactive kindred like Sparta, for example, like would legitly be stopped in his tracks before doing any of that. So it's
I
not
mean-
even your convictions,
Yeah.
Steve. Like it's literally like the fact that like you really wouldn't, because like you would know that that would literally mean like ultimate permadeath for you,
Mhm.
possibly, and everybody else involved in that instance.
I mean,
So I feel. Go ahead.
that was why Alejandro was like, let's just watch. There's
Yeah.
people there.
Mm-hmm.
You go crazy, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it didn't necessarily, Alejandro didn't necessarily specify, revealing the masquerade or anything like that, but he only said something's gonna happen. You stay fucking calm.
Mhm.
Didn't push the button.
No, there is no.
He's starting to
button.
learn with the
And
counting trick.
that's why like I did it in a certain way of when Lev and his people showed up and the female approached the group and said something to them and they went into their hotel room. I purposely made them go into their hotel room. So if commotion would have happened, you guys would have known there's at least 3 people that we know of in a hotel room. And if I'm in a hotel and I hear somebody fighting, you know damn well I'm looking out the window and watching the drama
I am
unfold.
100% looking at it.
And I'm probably going to record it on my cell phone, which is the
World star!
worst
World star!
motherfucking breach of a masquerade is the internet.
Yeah.
That's why the Camarilla fears technology and modern
Technology and
technology.
phones, yes.
Because
100%.
anybody and everybody at all times got their motherfucking cell phones out, all these new generations, and if they go live on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Live on Facebook, live on Instagram.
now you've
We're
got a
fucked.
whole bunch of people watching
We
a bunch
are
of vampires fight
Exactly.
in a hotel.
Exactly.
So major risk for everyone. So that's one thing, like, I don't want, this isn't like Dungeons and Dragons where everybody's aware of magical shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, where it doesn't matter where you are, you can just get into a fight.
There's a dragon flying outside of the city. Yeah, sure, everybody's
That's
aware
normal.
of this.
Yeah.
That's like every other month, like that's fine.
Oh, that's my pet. Like, it's normal.
I had it as a pet, and then I had to release it, and I think he's mad now.
He misses me.
Yeah, this is definitely not
Exactly,
the
Jess.
case.
Technically,
to that comment from Jess, I just say thank God we didn't have the amount of technology when I was a kid, because the amount of stupid shit that I used to do when I was a kid.
I say that all the time. I'm like, I'm glad
I say
YouTube
that all
didn't
the time.
exist when I was like a preteen. There would be so many embarrassing things.
It would have been a train
Yep.
wreck.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't exist. But yeah, so that is one thing to remember, while it may be more fun to have a nice big vampire fight, it's not always going to happen. And that's why I try to step in as storyteller, and it might seem like I'm like taking opportunities away from you, but at the end of the day, I'm doing things that would align with like what Lev would do. He'd be like, no, bro, we're not getting into a fucking fight here. Like, we need to leave. Clearly there's danger here. Somebody from our group has already been taken. We need to leave. And if something happens, we need to be in a space where it can happen. Like, let's go.
I'm actually curious if Lev knows that Lindsay ordered Alejandro taken, because him and Lindsay are pretty close, so he might actually know what happened to Alejandro already.
Possibly.
But here's also another thing, right? Because we had one kindred who went after, after Sparta told one of the kindreds, like, Alejandro's been taken, where did they go? That way, and he took off. But that area, you couldn't see everything, so it was safe to, pile off.
Sprint out.
Well, the thing is, too, with fleetness, you can't see. Like, vampires can't even detect fleetness, so humans aren't going to be able to see that a vampire is running full speed down the road. Like, you know what I mean?
True.
So they might, like, whenever they stop in place and suddenly show up, then people might be like, what the fuck? But you also have to remember that that guy knows his own abilities, and he would know where to duck into, like, the shadows, and he's not just going to stop running in front of a crowd. Like, you're like, hey!
Look at me! Look at me, I'm Usain Bolt!
You know what I mean? So it's like, vampires are smart. They know their abilities. They know how to use them. They know how to go undetected. So, he's not going to necessarily expose himself. He probably ducked into a corner somewhere and then kind of went on his way walking like a normal person. But yeah, the reason why you guys didn't see anything is because Penelope didn't go that far, but you guys didn't stay to investigate the area. So Alejandro and Penelope were there, ducked around the corner, hiding when you guys were leaving and getting in the cars and taking off. So smart little cookie. She just hid. She didn't try to get to any destination far away. She just tricked you guys and hid close by, right under your nose, and waited for you to leave. Which you did very quickly. Oh, but what was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say. Anyway, whatever thought I had is gone. So then we get to the very crazy ending of Alejandro being thrown in jail and Lindsay showing up.
Yes.
I'm gonna leave it to Alejandro first.
Alejandro.
I mean, it was the thing is, it was so like focusing on what's going on with the story, focusing on but also getting distracted by two faces that were in complete freaking shock. Like I was sitting here trying to listen in. At the same time, from the corner of my eye, I see Fen freaking like, oh fuck. I see freaking Sparta like a scared little boy, like.
Yeah, I'm like,
I had to try not to look at them because I didn't want to laugh, and I wanted to like be really serious as Lindsay, so I kept like mostly looking at you or like looking at my notes. It's like,
well, the cool thing about the fact that you guys are not streaming and I am, it's like you can just maybe bring out, like click on, Memzi's camera and just have him like full screen.
Well, I can't because I'm recording during it.
Oh yeah, right. You're recording too, so you can't do that either.
But it's fine. I've adapted in trying to like focus my attention, or just not letting it affect me as much. You know what I mean? I just like watch it later and I'm like, haha.
You could always put some like, you could always have like some post-it notes close by and
That's
just
way too
okay,
fucking
Right,
complicated.
just like plop it in front of our faces, being like,
The problem is I'm so ADD that stuff like that would probably distract me more, and I would get too focused on that, then I would be like, wait, what was I doing? So I just have to like train my mind to how to deal with those situations. But
Doing our shock out.
yeah, I'll react to it later. And part of that, what helps me is practicing those moments, practicing being really serious and channeling like the emotions that Lindsay's feeling. And so then it helps my mind focus on where I'm supposed to be and not like all of the outside things happening around me.
You definitely keep us in those situations, so you're gonna get lots of practice.
Yeah, and I do write out like a lot of like the speeches, so to speak, that I've done, like with Catalina, Lindsay, Colette's little speech. Like I write all of that out and I practice it because I want to say it as naturally as I can, and I don't want it to sound like I'm reading a script. But I also don't want to go in it completely unprepared, because usually in those situations, like I have a goal of like what I'm trying to communicate or what I'm trying to do. And I don't want to like squirrel brain and be like, wait, what was I talking about? So I do write out all of that and I practice throughout the week. I record myself and I listen to myself. I do all kinds of nerdy shit, but to like get ready for that moment so that I can make it feel as real and not make it feel like I'm just sitting here reading something off of a screen. But yeah, so I'm assuming so you guys thought that he was gonna die. At least Steve said he thought,
or at least get tortured.
So in that moment when Lindsay arrived, what were your initial thoughts of why she was there and what was happening? Because like you did make the point when we were talking last night of like he didn't do anything wrong that episode. He was like kind of chill. So I'm curious.
He was actually kind of chill, and we had like some fun moments with Alejandro. I was like, wait, Alejandro is coming around. And like, yeah, he's still being super Alejandro, like being his lone self, like
sarcastic as
fuck, and like kind of like sometimes pushing the envelope and whatever. But he actually, like, you know, like you said, we commented before, like the little like, you know, 4-way text messaging when Sugar came in. Like I thought it was a cute moment, like amongst the group. You know, it kind of like, for me, it kind of cooled down that like tension that there was like the night before, where Colette was like, why the fuck did you like not let that asshole go, bitch? Like I don't want to deal with his face anymore. Like fuck this shit, you know. And now we're like laughing about like, you know, the Sugar's jacket and stuff like that together,
bonding as a group.
Bonding, exactly, even on like super trivial shit. But like I thought it was a cute moment, and I was like, oh, okay, like in his own way, you know, he's trying.
Right.
So I was like, fuck. But I thought, well, you know, like they brought the gangrels in. So because they were involved historically with the, you know, the ex-prince and all that went down and whatever. And I was like, but at the end of the day, the real threat was a bruja.
Correct.
So it was like, oh, maybe that's what's happening. Like maybe they're bringing him down now. Also because he hasn't been proven to be the easiest kindred to deal with.
He's a dick.
So yeah, that's what I thought personally. I was like, oh, probably this is like, you know,
similar to what happened with Sparta.
Yeah.
That's fair. What about you, Steve? What was your initial thought of like why he was there? Why was he being punished now when it seems like nothing really happened, because when Lindsay left that night, she said, "This is your final warning." And now nothing's happened. Like, you guys have been chill. Like, what happened? What triggered it?
That was my initial thought. Then I was thinking about it, because when me and Alejandro were arguing in the car, you had made a specific mention that Colette was listening
Mm-hmm.
and had like taken like a mental note of it. So after that, I was like, okay, this is probably has to do something with that, because he was arguing for the werewolves. I was arguing for the Camarilla against the werewolves.
Not necessarily. Just I'll continue. I'll say something about.
Well, that's how they interpreted that conversation, and that's how Colette interpreted that conversation as well.
Mm-hmm.
His comments made it seem like, I'll work with the werewolves. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because the most telling moment of why Alejandro was in jail is what Penelope whispered into his ear before she staked him. Which
is why I asked you to repeat it.
His very words: if there's something to gain, then there's something to gain from. And she whispered those words into his ears and staked him. I had an interesting thought the other day. Imagine if the ex-prince was resurrected and shook things up.
Sparta would be all for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, there is no comeback from permadeath.
They actually turn into dust when they die.
They literally turn into dust. Yeah.
Yeah. When a vampire dies, their body disintegrates.
I think that's the only thing that the Kindred TV series actually got right.
Yikes.
Yeah.
The one thing.
But yeah, so Penelope gave you guys a hint of why Alejandro was being taken when she whispered those words into his ear before he was staked, is just like Steve suspected, it had to do with that conversation that took place in the car. And also makes you realize that the only person in the group that likely relayed that information
is Colette.
Mm-hmm.
So
she turned you in.
But
Colette is trying to get rid of you any way she can. You're not gonna fucking leave, all right? I'm gonna fucking tattletale.
but that also, like, this situation is also gonna be very interesting in the future.
Oh yeah, the repercussions of this, like, little.
The repercussions of this, the repercussions of Colette telling. You know, the fact that if anyone finds out about what actually happened, what will then happen, you know, for example, when Colette realizes eventually what happened and what's going on, considering, you know, the Bruja has always been like, blood bond, don't drag the shit into us. So there's a lot of things to be revealed and uncovered in character, I feel.
You have to remember, Colette is not your classic Bruja. She doesn't care about the shit that Alejandro cares about. She doesn't have the convictions that Alejandro has. She wants to be a part of this Camarilla. She is hungry. She is playing her political game. She knows what the fuck she's doing. She is not your average Bruja. So she might not have the same convictions about the things that are going on that Alejandro has. She is very aligned with the Camarilla. She might not necessarily have always been that way, but she is that way now. So exposing those things to her might not necessarily affect her in the way that you're expecting, just because she's a Bruja. And that's the beauty of this game and roleplay is, yeah, there is a stereotype for how most of these clans act and behave and the things in life that they pursue and shit like that. But you do have, because I mean, even look at Nyx, which obviously Nyx is a very baby vampire, but she's not your average Toreador. Like, She definitely has way more depth than like someone like Ashley. And then you see somebody like Penelope, same thing. She's not your average Toreador. She's not the, oh, look at me. She's actually quite opposite. She's like, don't look at me.
Fucking look at me.
Exactly, which like is
Even
completely contradicting to like a Toreador's typical behavior. They want the attention. They want the starlight. They want them to shine, and you know what I mean? So
And the Gangrel are the same. The Gangrel are normally suspicious as hell of just about everything. And Sparta hasn't really been suspicious of anything.
yeah, so you have to remember, I feel like Mimsy, you're basically the only one in the coterie that's playing your character like to the T of what a Bruja would be. The rest of the clan, the rest of the people in the coterie, they're not as like stereotypical of what that clan would be.
You still like have like things that tie like things together. Like there are a lot of behaviors in Colette's like attitudes and like Sparta's like reactions and stuff like that that are very much their clans.
Yeah.
But again, like I kind of love when you use those concepts and you kind of almost go against the grain of the stereotype of that clan itself. Because you know, like it is somewhat limiting in a way. Like you are limiting yourself a little bit. Like if you're just sticking with exactly what, you know, the stereotype is. Stereotypes are stereotypes, right?
Exactly.
They're one dimension.
Yeah.
It's definitely more fun to branch out.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, Lindsay might not give a fuck if she finds out he's blood bonded. He might be like, sucks to be you, bitch. How does it feel to have to fucking fall down on your face every time she walks up? Hey, joke's on you. Like you don't know what kind of fucking response she would have. She might not give a fuck. She might think you deserve it. And be like, hell, I would have done the same damn thing if I was working that hard and you kept doing this shit and I had to put up with you. I mean, you don't know. That's the thing, is you don't know what Colette's ambitions are. You don't know why she's in the city as a Bruja. You don't understand why she's stayed this long, why she's aligned herself with the Camarilla. Like, you don't know any of that shit about Colette, you know, and all of those behind the scene things of why she does the things she does. She might be fucking working with Isaiah for all you know. You know what I mean? Like, You don't know. You don't know what her ambitions are and what she wants. So, and she does have attributes that a Bruja would have. And she does have certain convictions and the way that she expresses herself and different things like that. But she also does go against the grain a little bit here and there. And she doesn't always act how you would expect a Bruja to act, with the injustice that happens with Camarilla, you know, because that's usually where a lot of Brujas struggle, is like that injustice of like, you know, this isn't just, you know, what they're doing. They're controlling us. They're doing this. They're doing that. That's usually what they have a big problem with. And Colette hasn't seemed to have a problem with anything that the Camarilla has done. In fact, she's gone against what Alejandro has said and be like, that's not your fucking job. That's not your business. You shouldn't be worrying about that. And she's like corrected him almost. So she's very clearly a unique Bruja, and makes you wonder what her political gain is in all of this. And, you know, what is she trying to get out of? That's the thing about vampires, is especially Camarilla, which I quoted. It was a quote from the book. So the Camarilla is powerful enough to give you everything you have, but they're greedy enough to take everything, give you everything you want, but they're greedy enough to take everything you have. That's how they work. You don't work with them? Fine. We'll make you, or we'll destroy you. Come at me, bro. uh, they don't care. They're fucking ruthless. That's why I love it. It's fun. It's like But yeah, so there were some telling things, and we kind of broke this down, and I want to break it down again, especially because I want to hear Finn's thoughts and about everything that Lindsay said. So some things that we were speculating of the guys, we were chatting last night about this, and we were talking
We
about
cheated.
whether how Lindsay got the ability that she got, that was clearly a gangrel ability. So what are your thoughts and speculations on how she obtained those? Do you think she asked nicely, or do you think she went about it a completely different way?
I mean, she could have gone both ways, and she has a relationship with a gangrel that she's protecting. So that could be what she's getting off of their relationship, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're bound by a binding contract, where like, okay, I'm gonna put my honor and life and position in the Camarilla like on the line, but you're gonna have to teach me your secrets, and this is gonna how it's gonna work. This could be because that is a pretty much like there's no monetary gains, right? Like who said it? I think it was Ashley. She was like, you you're not gonna worry about like fucking up your expensive shit. Money is not
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah. Like, who cares?
You know,
Oh,
who
you
cares?
ruined $3,000 shoes? Whatever.
Yeah,
Go
the
buy another
gains
pair.
for Kindred are getting favors from each other.
Right.
That's the most important like way of
Currency.
exchange
Yeah.
and currency amongst the Kindred. It's like, okay, like I'm gonna interact with this
Baby.
Kindred because I know that I can gain this type of thing from them,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. So she could have gone that way, but like, I mean, from what I've seen, like she's a very polar like character, almost like in a way she's like very controlled, and in other ways she's completely brutal. um so like it wouldn't surprise me if she was, if she ended up diablerizing a gangrel, maybe during the fucking, like prince, like ex-prince, like bullshit,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
maybe like she captured one, and instead of like giving it to the Camarilla, she just diablerized them.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been definitely one of the ways that she went around it for sure. um and I can see both things happening with her personality because she's so polar.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I feel like both of them would be interesting. I feel like as a player, I see Lindsay maybe gaining a little bit more depth through the experience of having like an ability with like the relationship with Lev rather than the diablerie, because no matter you're like even on a blood hunt, which is like, the thing that like Catalina
Yeah.
ordered for Isaiah. Even on a blood hunt, usually if you're in the Camarilla, you really don't want to diablerize. Like, it's still not okay.
Yeah.
Like, it is a very, very against all the rules. No matter how bad your enemy is, you're not gonna diablerize them. And if you do, you are very much at risk of being eliminated, even because diablerie is detectable. I think.
Yes.
Or is it still detectable?
Yep, it's detectable. So that's it.
Through, I think both Tremere and Auspex can detect it. So.
Oh my god. Tiki's being real clingy. Uh, he's so cute. I can't help but not love it. But
and Lindsay does have a connection to the gangrel, like when we were talking about the 2 wolves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can detect their aura, like around them. Their aura is like full of like black lines or something. I can't remember. There's like some sort of like aura around them that you can detect.
It's red and black veins in their auras.
Veins, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's
you can
this like weird, disgusting, veiny thing that you can detect in the aura. Yeah.
You can detect it with Sense the Unseen, or no? Is it?
No, it's the other one.
It's the one that you detect if they are like kindred and whatever.
I have it.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
It's called
my pokey.
Scry
the Soul. That's what it is. Yeah.
So
it is
detectable. It's level 3. I have shared the senses instead of Scry the Soul. It's one of the 2 the branches of thing, but it is like you can see the resonance of the blood, you can see the supernatural traits, you can see the aura. So the aura reveals the mental state, and also like what the kindred or the creature is. Right. Like, for example, humans, vampires, werewolves, and other supernatural creatures have different types of vibrations in their auras, so you can actually see if you're a vampire or a human just by looking at that, if you have that ability.
So it's basically traceable. Like, people can see that you've done it. You can't necessarily get away with it.
And again, the blood test for Tremere also can reveal diablerie.
Yes, they can see if you've ever done it.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so that was one thing that we were talking about is like, well, what are your opinions? Do you think that she just learned it? Do you think she killed someone and took it that way? And they wanted to re-listen to basically Lindsay's little speech and what she said, because what she said was very telling in answering that question. And because how she sort of sets up the conversation of saying like that she's disappointed that Catalina wants him alive because she was excited to see what he might taste like, and that his abilities could have been of great use to her. So those comments are pretty telling, and then to follow that up with being like, oh yeah, like what you're thinking is what I'm talking about, and there's only a few ways you can do this, and then revealing that, I feel like all of that kind of leading up to that moment is pretty telling of how she got that ability, and that she didn't necessarily go through the proper channels of learning that.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. But again, like, you can always just be drinking the blood. Also, like, there is one of the things that could be affecting her is her like blood preferences, and there is such a thing as like a predator type as well that just consumes kindred blood. Kind of complicated to deal with, but that is a possibility. Also, older vampires sometimes will be almost forced to literally just drink from other vampires, because if not, they do not get any nourishment.
Right.
From
they have to drink a lot of humans.
Yeah, from humans. So they resort to just like drinking from other kindred.
Yeah. So Jess, yeah, Lindsay did kill someone. I mean, Lindsay's job is to kill people when they're sentenced to death. She's probably killed a lot of people, but the only way to gain someone's power like that is to what we're talking about is diablerizing, whatever, and it's drinking them dry. Basically, you drink all of the vampire's blood, And through doing that, you gain some of their power and their ability. And that act is frowned upon. Like,
Is like the ultimate vampire sin.
People don't do it because you just don't do that.
You can get permadeath
right
sentenced on your ass
exactly
if they find out that you did that.
Exactly. So it's very risky to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve brought up a good point, which I don't know if this is what you're about to touch on, but
I bet you it was.
Okay. His point in what we were talking about last night is because of Lindsay's position as sheriff, and because basically it's her job to kill people when Prince Catalina says she wants them dead for whatever reason. He was wondering, in that situation, since they're already sentenced to death, would Prince Catalina really care if Lindsay committed diablerie in that moment?
Well, that's what I was also wondering, because like obviously like in with that little monologue, I remember that it seemed like she might have used the violent ways more than being like, "Hey, Lev, like I'm saving your ass and like I'm giving you a home. Would you teach me your ways?"
Right.
You know, type of situation. And try like happy and shit. No happiness, only brutality, I guess. But again, like yeah, she's the sheriff, so like would it really matter?
Yeah.
And my thing is, and one of the things that I remember the most is that like diablerie is not okay in the Camarilla whatsoever, even in that instance. Like even if it's a blood hunt, it's still like not a thing that Kindred should be doing or should be resorting in doing. So I'm interested in knowing if she just decided to, you know, be like fuck it and just do what she did and like maybe keep it secret, or if maybe mommy or like sorry Nana,
Grandmommy.
grandmommy actually also has a history of like maybe being a little naughty in that department, and maybe like, you know, didn't just shut one eye, maybe shut two eyes and was like, you know what, it's fine, we gotta get rid of these people, just like do whatever you want to do, you know what I mean? So
She
like I'm
did
curious
say that
about that.
she did say she learned everything from her grandmother.
So one thing to mention in regards to the blood hunt and actually drinking somebody dry is it does say here, anything goes in the blood hunt, and if the one who kills the target drinks it dry and claims a part of their power, the terrible crime of diablerie, so be it.
Oh yeah,
They don't care
okay.
during a blood hunt. If it's a
Okay,
blood
okay.
hunt, they
So
want
blood
them
hunt,
dead.
it doesn't matter. Well, then it could be. If there was a blood hunt for gangrels, like it's fair game at that point.
Very well could have been, just like Finn said, it could have been during that time after Prince Doran was killed and gangrels were being hunted and all kind. Who knows? They might have had some suspect and be like, "Hey, it was this guy. Let's kill him." And Lindsay took that opportunity.
Yeah.
So
True.
very well could have been something like that. We don't necessarily know the history. We can assume that
And
Lindsay's been
probably
around
one of
for
the
a while.
reasons why like they were also trying to protect Nyx during those 3-4 nights, because if it's a blood hunt, anything kind of goes, like, and Nyx is a powerful young vampire, really
And she's
easily.
directly connected to Isaiah. And that's why
Mhm.
Lindsay wanted to protect her as much as she wanted to. It also says helping a blood hunt is a good way into the Camarilla's graces, so joining is often frowned upon by the Anarchs. So who knows? Because the thing is one thing to remember in regards to the lore and the history of the city and the timeline. Prince Catalina didn't take over right away after Doran was killed. There was another prince that took over for a couple of years in between Doran and Catalina. So Lindsay could have been trying to get into the good graces of that prince and captured the gangrel during a blood hunt and been the one to like get in to the good graces. Like we don't know the history and the timeline of what happened.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of things that could have taken place in regards to how she did it. Another pretty telling comment that Lindsay made during her little speech was where she says, one of the benefits of having your grandmother as the prince is she doesn't pay attention to your methods.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Ooh.
could also be that maybe she just does whatever the fuck she wants and Prince Catalina doesn't question it because she trusts her.
Mm-hmm.
And Lindsay's using that to her advantage and getting away with shit that she maybe technically wouldn't.
She knows
get
that
away
could
with.
be very bad for her. Yeah.
Exactly. So who knows
I would say
what happened?
maybe like both together.
Yeah.
Like, she's just
A mixture
smart
of 'em.
cookie.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
So a little bit of both. She's like, well, I know that I can like, work my way around it because grandma, but
Yeah.
also, I'm using the rules of the Camarilla in my advantage
Right.
and, getting ultimately what I want.
Yeah. Could be a mix of
mean,
both. The thing
yeah.
about Lindsay is, like you said, she's so polar that it's like we've seen her be really caring and
Mhm.
we've seen her be really protective and we've seen her be really brutal.
Yeah.
So
and
it's like,
ruthless. Yeah.
what do
She's
you don't know
all
what
over
to
the
expect
spectrum.
from her?
Yeah. Mhm.
So you're like, does she care about me or does she want to rip my throat out?
Yeah, exactly. Like, will she like give me a pep talk or will she just like behead me right now? Like,
what's about to happen?
I don't know, and I'm scared. Lindsay,
Yeah.
honestly, like, yeah, I think my question.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, as of now, after 7 episodes, almost 2 months, guys, wow.
Crazy.
What is your favorite character? As of
I
now.
want the chat to answer this too. I have a lot of characters to sift through because well, I mean, I guess not to play, but just overall
that's hard.
character.
Like, what's been your favorite character to, like, I don't know, discover?
Watch or
In
whatever.
my opinion, I think it's a big battle between Lindsay and Colette.
I was gonna say I think it's the same for me. And for kind of different reasons. I kind of lean more towards Lindsay just because I feel like there's a lot to discover about her and like just there's a lot going on. I mean, but I guess the same could be said for Colette.
Mm-hmm.
I am interested to see how Lindsay's story continues to unfold for you guys, and you guys can really see how involved she is with the city and like just I mean, because you guys have seen glimpses of like what she does and her work and things like that, but like as time goes on, continuing to see what she really does and things like that. Because she's kind of, in a way, she's kind of taken your group under her wing, in a way. And she hasn't necessarily shown you guys, except directed at Alejandro, like that really, really abrasive side. Like it hasn't been directed at you. She's been a lot more caring towards you guys than you've seen her to most other people. So it's kind of interesting for the group, you know, for her to like really slowly reveal herself and be like, you know, maybe it's even because you guys are new and she wants you guys to do what she wants you guys to do what she says. So she's got to gain some level of trust and respect among you. So right now she's being really nice, But maybe once she's gained that respect from you guys, things might change completely and she might treat you guys completely different once she's got a hold of you, so to speak. She's a very political person, strategic. That's for sure. What about you guys? What are your favorites?
Colette for sure is my favorite because she's always around and like we literally get to see her grow with us. So she's definitely my favorite. Lindsay as well, but it's kind of like a toss up. Lindsay and Catalina, because every time Catalina has come in, it's always been intense and
fierce.
Fun. Yeah, exactly. So I definitely like Catalina as well. But Colette first, then Lindsay, then Catalina.
What about you, Mimsy?
I Lens is definitely interesting. It's definitely going to be more interesting now. But I'm also very interested to see Isaiah.
Learn more about Isaiah. Yeah, a lot. You guys don't know a lot about Isaiah.
No, I wanna know more about my sire so bad.
You wanna rip that shit up?
I
Right?
need to understand.
He seems to be just out of your grasp every single time.
Like just a smidge, just right there. Like we
Get
almost
a little
got
bit close, and then it's like, nope.
Right? Oh, it's frustrating.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
He's
I would
definitely good at what he
love.
does. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, I don't know how much older Catalina is, or if she even is older than him, because a 7th generation can be like literally like 600, 700 years old.
Yeah.
Like it's almost a Methuselah of the vampires, like really fucking close to the original, like 14 or whatever. So like, to be honest, like that's a long time. That's a very powerful generation, especially if you're one of the original 7th generations.
Catalina is 6th generation.
Oh, whatever. So, you know, she's older, but still, like a 7th generation kindred, like has definitely been around for ever. So just for me, older vampires are very fascinating because they're like, okay, what do you do after 500 years?
Shit like this. Fuck with people.
Like,
right?
You know,
because you're
like,
bored.
Yeah, literally, like there's nothing else you could do, right? Like you lived so long.
You've experienced everything there is to experience at that point. Like,
what, you know, like you would probably have to get into some shit.
Like, yeah,
like
you know,
this.
getting a little bored these days. It's almost my 600th
You know what?
birthday.
I'm gonna try to overthrow a prince because I don't like them. And
just for fun.
Just for fun.
Nice. Thank you for more cute little biddies. But yeah, you guys, it's interesting too because, excuse me, you, since the first night when Nyx was embraced, there hasn't necessarily been a trace of Isaiah in the city. Isaiah could be gone. And his little puppets could still be in the city doing all his work. He might not even be in New Orleans anymore.
We knew he was there recently because she did the premonition at the tomb and saw him do that little ritual.
There. Yeah.
True. But that was...
But again, that was like 4 or 5 days ago.
That was before the blood hunt as well. He could have fled the city as soon as they...
Like, literally, that was the reason of the blood hunt in the first place. And the reason why we took, like, 3-4 nights off. Because, like, we needed to, like, step back for a second. Sparta was in vampire jail. And we couldn't do anything. And now, like, if you think about it, it was that one night, so 5 nights, and then like the 2 extra nights for Alejandro. Healing. So it's been like almost like more than a week. A little more than a week since that time.
With that in mind, that Isaiah could already fled the city. If everyone was scattered when the blood hunt was called, who could have tipped him off? It's not like maybe Travis.
No, Travis would have.
Exactly. Travis was in the
he was there.
Like, Elysium.
The entire city was there.
Yeah.
Everybody knew what was going on. And another thing is Travis said when Nyx was listening in and repeating, he said, if Isaiah could be here himself, you know he would. So what that means necessarily, whether just at that particular meeting or that he is completely gone to protect himself, you guys technically don't know. He might not even be in the city anymore, and that's why nobody's turned up with anything after a week of a blood hunt being initiated, because there's no one to find. He's not here. And blood hunts don't necessarily, as far as I understand them, I believe they're only confined to the area that you have control of. Like, if he goes outside of New Orleans and someone finds him, they're on somebody else's turf at that point. You know what I mean? That's why Catalina said, if you find him within our city limits, like, kill him or bring him to me. And Catalina offered a pretty great prize by saying, if you bring him to me, you will be greatly rewarded. From the prince's mouth, getting a favor from the prince, you know those people are eager to find that man.
Right there.
Yeah. People want to find him. They want to bring him to her and be like, look at what I did. I did it. Me. Love me. Give me a favor. Like, that's some good shit right there. That's about as good as it gets.
It makes sense that he would leave the city because he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, he's probably like, fuck.
Oh, okay, they are hunting me. I'm out. But
I mean, self-preservation.
The thing is, like, we see him play all these characters. Yeah, for me personally, I'm more intrigued of the ones that we don't know much about. Like Isaiah, I'm very interested in seeing what's gonna happen to the other chick that was living in LA. Like, I'm very intrigued.
Wait, who?
Knowing more about her.
Bernard's sister.
The wife of the sister of fucking Bernard or Bertram or whatever you called him. I'm kind of intrigued to see what happens.
Well, we don't know
her.
where she was. We never found.
Right. We assumed she was in LA, but we didn't know. Bless you. Bless you.
We're going for the trifecta? No. But I'm kind of intrigued to see what's going to happen to her, or if she reappears at some point, because we only have one phone call conversation with her. But
she was mentioned, wasn't she?
After
this past?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
She hasn't been mentioned since you guys talked to her. Hi, how you doing, friend?
Oh, what's up, Gallant? I'm gonna
chatting,
go to the bathroom really fast.
speculating, talking about our favorite characters so far in the campaign. I think that I agree with you in like, I mean, it's hard for me as like storyteller to be like, yeah, this is my favorite character, like, but I think you're correct in the sense of saying the characters that we don't know that much about are a little bit more intriguing, because there's more to learn. You know, there's more to discover about them and their story and their involvement and things like that. So characters like Isaiah, and I would even go to say characters like Penelope, especially after this last episode and her involvement in this last episode, is we don't know a lot about Penelope. She hasn't really shown up a lot. She hasn't been around. And what kind of part does she play in all of this? And, you know, learning more about those characters.
I know I'm definitely interested in exploring Lev's character more, for sure.
He's another one we don't know a lot about. Yeah.
But he's always there in the background helping us in some way.
I know, right?
And we don't hardly know anything about him.
He's all business. He's not, you guys, the only moments he's not been focused on like business is when you guys were locked up. Then he like shared a little bit more of like personal life and personal stuff. But for the most part, he's very like all business. Like, we're here to work. Let's get this job done. Even like when you guys got back to the house, he stood outside and was like watching, like standing guard. You know what I mean? Like, he's very.
I had to literally go to him.
Yeah, he's very business minded and oriented, and that's what his focus is like, I've got a job to do.
I do have a question for both Fen and Memsy, but I'll wait till she gets back.
Okay.
Because it happened at the very end, and I was like, oh shit.
I'm gonna go buy a break as well, actually.
Okay. Enjoy.
Maybe we should add like a 5-minute bio break on the podcast.
No, because we're literally ending in 10 minutes.
Right.
I mean, maybe if we do one earlier, but we only have like 10 minutes left, so.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't make sense.
Just hold it for 10 minutes. I think that like I said, I keep kind of setting the bar higher and higher for myself.
Yes, you do.
But
and you haven't failed yet.
It's a fun challenge, that's for sure. I'm excited. I actually, because I was like, okay, eventually these stories need to start to come to an end. You know what I mean? Because eventually it's going to be like, okay, I'm tired of looking for this fucking Isaiah guy.
There has to be some kind of conclusion, a wrap up.
Right. So like I started thinking about that after the last episode. I was like, should I start thinking about conclusions for like how this is going to end and what is it like gonna look like for the group, and what type of things are they gonna discover, like what's gonna happen, because I haven't really thought about like the end, you know, like finale, I mean, so to speak,
because we're still at the beginning technically.
Yeah. So I was like, but I also was thinking, and this is something that we can also talk more off stream about, is like, for instance, LA by Night, their seasons or campaigns run for like 10 or so episodes. We're on 7. So I'm like, and we go for a lot longer than they do. They only go for like 2 to 3 hours. True. So I was like, if we're wanting to do like multiple Arwen.
Well, they also like do different arcs, right? They have like, it's like almost like like you said, like a season. So
Yeah.
like they have a season where the one problem is this one thing, and like then they have
Yeah.
their arc, and then maybe like either they fast forward in time, like it's been a few years,
Right.
like this is the sitch of the city, and like this new thing arised. So I did that with one of my chronicles that I played, where like we just like had arcs, and then like we would time skip, like it's been 5 years. Like we can do roles for like how well we did and stuff like that, and like figure it out, and then like build that background story of those 5 years that brings us to the new story arc.
Right.
And stuff like that, with maybe the same characters, or maybe bringing somebody new in and like taking another character out. So I think that's the beauty about this. Like it's not really ever done, unless
that's
we
what-
really don't want to play in the city anymore.
That's the
And
point
then-
that I was going to make, is like if we are wanting to have that type of style of, instead of something like Critical Role, like they've been playing the same campaign for like 3 fucking years.
True.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Stop.
Arwen.
She did so good. The last 10 minutes, she's got to fuck up. Anyway, if we're wanting to do that type of style to where we have like one season where this is like the main story for this season, then we go to like a season 2 where our focus has shifted onto like different things that are going on in the city. If we're wanting to do that, which in my opinion is more intriguing because it has a start and a finish. You can wrap up storylines, but there's also potential for going into the next season for other little storylines to like branch off. And like she said, you create this background that, oh, this is what's happened in the last year or however long you want to go in between your little breaks. And then you can start a different story. And it, gives your characters time to mature, get stronger, different things like that. You can change characters if you want to, different things like that. And if we're wanting to do that type of style, then, which isn't the style that I originally thought going into this. I was like, we'll just go where we go, and it'll take however long it takes, and the role play will determine everything. But I do feel like it would be nice to have an end. You know what I mean? Because all of this stuff has been building for so long that it's like the longevity of our campaign, we're not going to be able to keep up the excitement of what's going on if we continue this way. You know what I mean? Like eventually we're going to lose that like excitement of what's going on and this like mysteriousness of the story. So that's why I started thinking like, okay, well maybe we should start to plan for, or I should start to plan for like the finale, which is like all of what we've gone through this entire time coming to an end. And then whenever we decide to implement that, we'll implement that. But that was like something that I was thinking about, because that I hadn't necessarily thought about before in regards to like what's going to happen with Isaiah and what's going to be revealed and how is all this going to be connected and all that kind of shit. I haven't written that yet. I haven't gotten there. I just kind of started this story. It was like, this sounds cool. Let's do that. It's cool. Yep. Sounds like a future Jenna problem.
In season 2, the Corey goes on vacation to Mexico.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We meet
boy.
Pedro.
Oh, who the fuck are you?
And then he immediately gets killed.
He's like
Now
a mango vendor. He's like
No, I would probably be a tequila vendor.
he's
be
a
honest.
mango vendor that like saw too much.
Too much.
And we captured him and took him and tortured him and killed him.
Wow.
He dies in the first episode. Oh,
I could see it.
I could see it too.
Mm.
Oh my god.
Oh,
that would be
he's-
now that
hilarious.
they're both back, I did have a question.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
one of the big things in the city is don't kill humans. There at the end, when you said that 4 humans went into Colette's room, but only 3 came out, did anybody else think she'd killed somebody?
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh shit, she killed somebody.
Oh shit, she killed somebody. I mean, you guys don't know what happened inside there.
That's why I went up to the door. I was like, oh fuck. She just broke a law.
She just broke a law. Someone call the
I mean,
police.
to be honest, it's not like that's not written in the law. If you think
It's-
about
No,
it,
Remember,
that was one of our
it's our
laws.
chronicle.
is it?
Yeah. Thou shalt not kill unless in self-defense. It's one of our chronicle thingies that we picked. Disobedience is dishonor. Thou shalt not kill. And one more.
I thought that was just
The guilty
related
must
to,
be punished.
Kindred. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
sense like that. You know, you don't want to kill humans because you don't want to like fuck up the masquerade.
Yeah, it
So
might.
like you
It
wouldn't
might
kill
be.
humans because of that. Like obviously you don't want to just go on a murder spree because that would be kind of sus, you know. No matter how many hands you have
Exactly.
in the police department, like it's still going to be kind of hard if all the kindred in the city were like, "You know what? We gonna be quenching the beast every night, rip to New Orleans population." You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, it was kind of obvious in that sense that it was kind of related to the masquerade. But yeah, no, it's fine.
Next on
I
CNN
think
News.
I honestly thought she had become a criminal.
I think there's like worse crimes, especially as of now.
I don't think Catalina would care that Colette killed somebody in her bedroom.
Yeah, and I feel like if it was like right in front of everybody, it would be different if it's in the I don't know, maybe I'm just desensitized. I was like, oh, who cares? Like it's some
It's
fucking
the
nobody.
human.
Like
Fucking peasant.
it's in the safe house
that
too.
pleb. Nobody cared about them
Who
anyway.
fucking cares?
Wow.
What is
Just your-
happening to me?
Just another snack.
What is Finn's humanity at? We know what Nyx is at.
I mean, I didn't see it, so like I didn't react. But me as a player, I was like, if he's dead or not, who the fuck cares at this point? We
Not
have
my
way
problem.
bigger fish to worry about. Like one asshole human that is here is not gonna change our lives. Honestly, I was like, I personally do not care.
Fair. I feel like a lot of people in positions of power would probably not care right now. They'd be like, yeah, don't do that, but
True.
fuck it, I don't fucking care.
Like, let's try to not do that, but okay, like you were. It
I
was
like this
kind of
one,
like
Slit.
a situation, you
Yeah.
know? Like tonight was kind of a situation. So I mean, we'll close both eyes for tonight.
Yeah, and
We'll let it slide.
another thing is like you have to remember like what Finn was saying about like older vampires. In a way, they're sort of forced at a certain point to feed off of other vampires because human blood just doesn't give them what they need. Is I'm sure older vampires kill humans all the time just to quench their thirst.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't care, and their
Like a
humanity
sixth
is
generation,
low.
it wouldn't surprise me if Catalina fed from her childer, for example, or stuff like that,
Yeah.
because she probably wouldn't be able to literally get any type of like real nourishment from like humans anymore. So, you know,
And
like,
their
it's
humanity is so low.
so
like,
low that it doesn't matter.
they don't
It's
care
like
about
blood bag.
humans. They're like,
Mhm.
you
True.
exist so that I can survive. That's basically how they get to at a certain point. Like,
It's like, oh, you're just food.
yeah, just like how humans are with
Steak.
animals and
Yeah.
cows and disassociate.
Yeah.
You don't think about the suffering that animal goes through so that you can have milk and cheese and beef and chicken and all that good shit. You don't think about that. You desensitize, you disassociate. It's just food to you. And that's what happens to them over time.
Mm-hmm.
Humans are food. They don't care. They don't care if they had a life. They don't care if they had children. Fuck you. I need to eat.
A really
I'm hungry.
tasty snackle.
I'm hungry, bitch. Little Cheeto snack. Uh, but yeah, so no, it is interesting, and I mean, regardless of like if she'll get in trouble, it's still of like, oh my god, did she like just kill somebody? It's still kind of like, still does
And that's
something.
what Sparta was worried about. He was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
They're already acting weird tonight. And now
Mhm.
we have a missing human.
And how she was all like, I feel great.
Fine.
Yeah,
I'm doing fantastic.
Do you feel great because you just murdered somebody, Colette?
And finally, the beast is not there at your throat anymore for one night.
That's why you feel great? Maybe?
I see you, bitch.
I feel so bad for Sparta. He's like, everything is going crazy, and he's like the
He's
only
so
one.
cute. It's
Yeah.
like kind of sad. I felt so bad for Steve. Last episode, he was like, "I'm freaking out. No, nothing is going right.
I
Like
can't be
nothing
the
is
only
going
one.
right. I can't do what I want to do. I'm going crazy."
Like, I'm not smart enough to handle this. I don't know what's going on. I just want to punch something and I can't.
Just let me hit it. Let me touch the butt.
Just let me push the button for fuck's sake.
That's funny.
Oh my god, I love it.
But
Poor
yeah,
baby.
I think that how we ended the episode with Alejandro entering into a blood bond with Lindsay, and how that is going to unfold, and what is going to be revealed to the group about where Alejandro was and what happened to him and all that good stuff. Is Lindsay going to be forthcoming with that information? Is she going to lie?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta tune in to our next session to know all that good stuff, eh? Oops, I forgot my exclamation mark.
The one thing that I think I want to make clear for people is to understand blood bonds a little bit better. It's Alejandro isn't going to be changing as much. He's going to change towards one person.
Yes.
Mhm.
He's not going to go full 360, here's
Still
Alejandro.
gonna be Alejandro.
He's still going to be the
don't
same.
expect
but...
Alejandro to be like
Oh,
submissive.
lovey-dovey.
Like he's nothing in Alejandro's personality is gonna change, but his relationship with Lindsay, if she's around,
Right.
is going to be really different, really
Mhm.
different.
That's going to be drastic.
I think the only moments that when she's not around, that maybe would affect him differently is if like somebody is talking about Lindsay in a negative light, he would
Mhm.
likely
Mm.
become defensive
Yes.
and get
Yes.
mad at them and be like,
Yes.
how dare you speak of her that way, kind of thing.
Yeah. And we would be like,
It's funny.
What?
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be revealed, and at the same time, I was happy with how that scene happened because I could finally, after so many sessions of being at Hunger 3 and 4, take it down a notch.
Yeah.
Like, I
Right.
have been struggling Like fuck, I
Alejandro's
have
been
been.
at 3. This episode, he was at 4 hunger
Yeah.
because he hasn't been able to feed.
Yeah, that's
So,
a thing also that I would love to like know more, because we don't know Alejandro's
Preferences or anything.
preferences or like
I
predatory
predatory.
mean,
style.
Yeah.
The only
you
ones
don't
we've
know,
kind
but
of
there has
explored was
been.
Nyx's and Sparta's.
Yeah, I like to party while I have my snacks, you know.
But
Alejandro's a
Alejandro's
vegetarian.
predatory style is typically frowned upon, which is why he's secretive about it. A lot of vampires don't respect other vampires that feed on vampires. So,
Oh, I
And
see.
so
and the
yeah.
thing is, like, I wanted to play. I wanted to make it a little bit harder for Alejandro in that aspect. So when I was reading through the predatory style, I'm like, he's always been someone who's been a server protect type of person as a cop. And when he was turned, that was the reason he said, "Okay, embrace." That was the reason why he said, "Okay," to be embraced, because he still had that passion, still had that drive. He wanted to protect and serve. So when I was thinking about Alejandro, I was thinking about my the inspiration for Alejandro, where that came from. I said, okay, let's make him not drink off humans, because he swore an oath to protect and serve. So even though it's frowned upon, he has been able to do his thing.
That's so interesting.
Well, in a
I
way,
I
he
had
sees it
a I
as
had a
righteous.
feeling that was your feeding style.
I thought
Um,
he fed off animals, not vampires, actually.
no, I thought
I'm not from
it was
Twilight.
A lot of
No, there is.
vampires, typically only gangrels will feed off of animals because a lot of
Yeah,
vampires
gangrels will.
they can't get enough
Sustenance.
substance from animals. It doesn't satisfy them like humans. And actually,
Yeah.
when you're at a certain blood potency, you can't, like, animals
You
do
can't.
nothing for you. Like, you can't feed off of animals.
I wouldn't be able to get any nourishment from animals, for example.
Nope.
My character would not. Like,
Yeah.
if you give me like a deer to
rabbit.
suck on, I would, and would be like, I'm still starving,
Yeah,
dude.
be
I
like,
have
nothing
no idea what
happened.
the fuck you get in with this.
So,
That
So my
was
character's
nothing.
literally the only one that would be able to feed on animals.
Yeah.
sustenance.
So
That's the word I was trying to say. Thank you.
So that's why I chose that predatory style for Alejandro, was very heavily to do with his background and how he got embraced, and why he decided to go with that instead of just getting the cancer treatment and dying from it, or dying from cancer, because he knew that he inside he still had that cop passion. He still wanted to protect the innocent and catch bad guys. So it became like reading the predatory style and being like, Alejandro's always been kind of like the like work against certain rules and certain things. I felt like it was a natural thing for him to continue to be able to serve and protect and not kill innocent humans.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very interesting that also that would bring natural blood bonds, because like if you're feeding from other vampires, you're blood bonded.
True.
Not necessarily.
No?
No?
So I talked to him about this because he had a question about that. Like, how does this blood bond with Lindsay affect other blood bonds that maybe because of his predatory style? And basically because vampires know that if you feed off of each other, you get blood bonds. A lot of vampires won't let you feed off of them because they know that. So, in the way that he feeds, they drain their blood and give it to him, because when a vampire drains their blood, it loses its power. You have to drink directly from the vein in order to get a blood bond. So that's one workaround for predatory styles if they feed off of other vampires, to avoid getting bonded to that vampire.
Which is something that might get revealed in the future. There is something
because like, for example, in the old one, like one way of sneaking a blood bond, especially with humans, was to just like
sneak your blood into drinks and shit
in a little drink and like, bitch, your blood bond is sneaky.
You're mine now.
Yeah. No, they must have changed that, because in the blood bond it says you have to drink directly from the vein.
Yeah, they did change it, because I assure you, like, it was like a way of like doing it. I did it in my campaign several times. I've seen vampires do it in the campaigns that I was playing and that I ran. Like, I used it, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it says, just as in the embrace, the blood consumed must be taken directly from the vein of the donor, as it loses its power to bond in a matter of seconds unless drunk.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
So there has been a workaround, but
there has been a workaround for sure.
That's.
I mean, it was kind of OP.
Yeah, I mean, that is a little OP, like
to just be able to like literally like put a little bit of
blood bond
in
everybody,
cup, like in like some wine or whatever, and you're like blood bond, you got a goal right there. Like that's OP.
Yeah, I agree. I like the way that it's done here, and that's why Lindsay made him feed off of her the way she did. Like, she gave her his wrist, and he fed directly from the vein.
And it was a relief as well. Like, you know, Alejandro has been dropping hints. Like, he has been dropping hints, especially to Nyx. Because if you remember when we were after fucking Sparta decided to go break a leg and take that literally, he said to her, "You have never seen me fed, and you always have to be observant of your surroundings."
Yeah, no, I remember that. But for me, I mean, as a new kindred, like, I don't know that you can fucking like feed from other vampires, like.
And that's, oh my god, I'm not even gonna lie. When they were at the gym and Nyx and Alejandro was talking, that night I was fucking tempted to let Nyx feed off Alejandro.
Wait, what?
You mean Alejandro feed off of Nyx? Like, bond me? Oh, bitch. Hell no.
No.
I was like, oh.
Why?
No. I don't know.
Wait. I'm confused. You wanted Nyx to feed off of Alejandro. Why would she have fed off of him, though?
I don't know. It's 5 a.m.
Why would she have wanted to? Like, that's my thing. Why would she have been like, no, I'm not doing that?
I could see like Alejandro maybe trying to feed off of Nyx.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And like gaining trust with her and being like, hey, let's
I need some help here. Could you like bondage?
Yeah, weird shit would have taken place in that gym that day. That's a whole different thing.
Alejandro, if you want to taste some of this sweet Nyx blood, just let me know. I'll put it in a cup for you, man. Crystal, the finest crystal cup I have. Little goblet for you. Getting cheeky now.
It's funny. But yeah, I don't know. Blood bonds are interesting, and it is interesting to see how it's going to unfold with Lindsay now that Alejandro is blood bonded. And how is that going to affect the group, and how is that going to affect him? So yeah, good shit. Anything else you guys want to say in conclusion as we wrap up? Any other questions? Speak now, forever hold your peace. I'm just kidding.
I think the only thing I can say is more crazy shit to come on Saturday.
Oof.
Very true.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
A lot more crazy shit is gonna go down.
Yeah.
There was something, but I can't remember what it was.
Steve, you gotta start writing it down.
We were talking about it before when we were on the call before the stream. I
It
just don't
doesn't
remember
matter.
what
You
we were
write
talking
it down.
Our call last night?
No, literally, but right before the stream, we were talking about it, and Fen
you were talking about having a dream.
Wait.
You had a dream about your character, and she was like, "We can talk about this at the stream."
Yes,
and she cut you off.
Yes.
That's right. So the question was for everybody in chat: have we ever dreamed about our characters in game? And I did have a dream like last week or so where it was really weird. First off, I woke up in my bedroom, which Sparta has never gone into his bedroom.
Doesn't even know what his room looks like.
And he walks downstairs, and on the couch, there's like a big red button.
Oh my god.
Randomly.
How fitting.
And he walks towards it to go to push it, and Alejandro gets in the middle and says, "Don't do it, don't do it." And he goes, "What? I mean, it's just a button." And then he walks past, and then Colette comes up, is like, "Stop, do not push the button."
Oh my god.
And he goes, "What's wrong with you? It's just a button." And then he walks past Colette, and then Nyx comes up, and she's like, "Please count to 10." And then so he starts counting, and he gets to 9, and then he just pushes the button. And then I woke up.
Of course. That is fucking hilarious.
I love it. I love that. I love that.
That
so
is
much.
Sparta and our coterie in a nutshell. Them trying to
Pretty
talk
much.
Sparta off the edge every single time he wants to touch something shiny or do something he shouldn't do. All three of them are like, "Please, Sparta, come on.
Please, can you please not?
Just don't."
Like, thank you.
That's
Just
hilarious.
think about this. I love this dream so much. That is amazing.
The funny thing is,
That
I
is
can
so good.
see it in an animation, playing
No, me
out
too.
in my
Me
head.
too. I can see it in an animation in my mind, and I'm like, this is so good. It's so perfect.
Oh,
When I woke up, I actually chuckled. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I
touched the
think
butt.
I could mention this because this was something I was thinking about, and this was something that you guys always say when a shocking thing happens is the whole "oh no" thing, and I feel like if a moment like that where me, Fen, and Steve are completely in shock, clip that, and I'll fucking make a TikTok out of that shit with the "oh no" sound.
Oh no.
Yes, do it.
Because I was thinking making TikToks out of the "oh shit" moments, or even
Or
even
faces.
a complimation.
We're very animated in our facial expressions.
We are indeed.
I mean, I kind of try to hold myself together if I am in the scene, but if I'm spectating a moment between two characters, like I'm a spectator, so I don't give a fuck about like
Your expression.
looking shocked or whatever.
The prison scene.
Yeah, but yeah,
That's
definitely.
I definitely clip those moments because I feel like that could be, that could be a potential YouTube video right there, like moments of shot.
A compilation.
Compilation of every time Sparta wanted to touch the button and everyone told him not to. Compilation of
no!
every time Nyx cried.
Count to 25.
He's getting better. He's starting to listen, at least to Nyx.
I am very happy. I'm happy that like my character is coming through to people. Like I'm like, wow, okay, this is happening faster than I thought, and I'm very happy about it. Pat on my back.
You've gotten at least him to agree to count to 25. That's a step in the right direction. That was with Colette's help.
And he ended up counting to 50 and turning around
look
and
at him
going away.
go. Good job, Sparta. We're proud of you. All right, guys. You guys can join us on Saturdays, every Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard. We go live on the lovely Fenice's Twitch channel. That's where all the fun happens, all the drama unfolds, all the shocks.
I love drama.
Everything.
And the odd comment that makes everyone laugh.
Yes. We've always got to have at least a couple of those. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Adios.